That's incredible.
Gosh, we're getting towards that kind of era now, and I'm not sure I like it.
I mean, you kind of got to respect it, but I can't imagine the decision-making process there for the family, you know?
We can ask Hysterics what his kid is going to be named at some stage.
Yes, yes. I did meet a guy one day who named his daughter Leona, and the wife did not know it was a League of Legends reference until he met me and I think Ender at a coffee shop. She was not pleased. Anyway, moving through as we have a bit of level 1 trading here. GX have a bit more, you know, upfront CC. Know that they don't really have too much to be worried about level 1, so are going to force Razork back.
Big focus, I think, throughout the entirety of the series is going to be on early game, given that's where, you know, Rob mentioned this before. GX have been really good in early game. But it's not like Fnatic haven't had teeth there too, of course. And particularly when it comes to where that is going to come through, bot lane is so important to keep your eyes on.
I'm slightly disappointed in Mickey. I really saw him in that position. I was like, they're going to try and just immediately chunk Noah out of the lane, but not going to be the case. But either way, yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how both these teams try and face up, especially as you start to get towards that mid-game point.
Of course, before we get into the matchup, which will naturally be bot lane focused, a brief look to the top side to celebrate Mr. Oscar Renan himself. It wasn't too long ago he joined the league. Now 200 games deep. But of course, on the opposite side for GX, it's a similar story for your boy Isma. Also coming in, looking fresh, a hot 100 for himself. So shout out to both those players. I think both of them have been through ups and downs, right? But are here fighting for this position in Madrid. A lot on the line, but a lot to celebrate as well.
I think especially for Isma, I think this guy has really stepped up over the course of summer, and even we saw guys like Jackie's talking about at the podcast with Noah that it was such an important addition to the team, and they learned how to play with them, learned how aggressive he wanted to be in the jungle, how they could try and support that, and it feels now he's slotted in incredibly nicely onto this roster. And it's starting to thrive in this early game.
And I think considering where he started this year, I think he's improved so much. I'd say even maybe the most improved player across LEC this year. His performance is going to be very critical here against Fnatic, because you are against Razork, who we know can have some very, very high highs, and you cannot take him for granted at all. And particularly, I think, with these two junglers, we have to see how they impact bot lane, because we know that bot lane is not just one lane on its own. Junglers going down there, like we saw Fnatic in Game 1 versus MKOI, really push them there and set up their AD carry to be ahead.
Yeah, and I let that graphic linger for a second, but I want to draw everyone's eyes to the bot lane proximity. Bprox, the second line, 21.4, biggest number in our league by a huge margin. He has a timeshare in bottom lane. He is a second support. I know he's playing Nocturne, so you wouldn't guess it. But when the inevitable...
Look, I've seen Mickey's match history. There's a Nocturne in there somewhere.
There probably is. He will be bot lane. The question is, where will Isma be in the meantime? Will he be attacking the top side, or will he look to match? Nice knockup connects on the Jun, who was just barely clipped. Mickey gets just the edge of the hitbox, so Jun takes a massive trade, loses the heal now, doesn't have the flash either.
And with that trade there, I wonder whether Razork feels like he could walk into bot jungle as well, knowing that his bot lane has the first move.
Isma forced to flash too. This is excellent start from Fnatic.
Isma trying to contest when he'd already got his mid laner pushed out. Now Mickey taking a bit of an aggressive trade here, but still, kind of, Isma didn't really have a right to be there. You can see you had to back his Jackies because a good trade coming through from Poby, push on bottom side as well. So Isma burning his flash now in the early stages makes him a little less potent when he comes for these ganks.
Especially with Nishinzo was such an important character in the early game. Always is when that one's picked. But this is why, I mean, the script kind of writes itself for this game. Really, the junglers want to influence that bot lane as much as possible, but can't go forward to get popped.
Going out, dash back. Mickey hoping just to clip Noah there, really try to get more. Again, I think in a perfect situation, Upset has more mana, and they can force that wave in, leverage Razork's prio, leverage as fast as they force that flash to get a dive, but Jun resetting just means Noah's zoned off of a few creeps, but the wave only just now crashing, so isn't too big of a loss outside of the subs.
Still, I think you're happy enough for Fnatic. Like, Razork's now clearing out his camps on the top side, going to be able to reset in a moment. Sorry, has already reset it, so has a nice little items for himself. I think if you can try and punish onto this bottom side towards Jun again after this bounce back, I think you're in a good spot.
Ooh. Poby forced a flash in the 1v1. And we heard so much, right? Jackie's talking about it like they've done well in scrims, but the lane phase has never really gone in his favor.
And Poby misses the cannon. It's disaster. You know, the textbook is being rewritten. We need to have like an errata to the textbook. What's happening?
I think for Jackie's, remember last time these guys played, we had the Czech mid laner duo interview. He might be firing back on behalf of the former Fnatic mid laner. You know, there's a little more fire, a little more motivation this time when they play.
Yeah, I mean, nicely done from Jackie's. And again, you're kind of alluding to it. He said in interviews that found it difficult to play against Poby when it came to the laning phase, just because Poby felt like he just had everything down to what was written shall be done.
Yeah.
But Jackie's found a nice little advantage for
Oh,
himself.
you're getting a bit cultish there. What shall be written shall be done.
Yes.
I grew up in a Catholic country.
It's the Church of Poby now. We've decided. There's one thing we can do for Poby. It's assign other famous Korean players' brandings to him.
There's always room for another denomination.
There we are. And GX, of course, doing what they can to cover here. Razor sticking around, forces Isma to stick around, but Isma happy to just pick up the Gromp. And while Fnatic definitely locking Jun on the bottom side of the map, they haven't been able to accrue too many greater advantages, but Drake will be theirs.
Yeah, and just the whole control of bot side. GX have not been able to go into the enemy jungle on bot side. Fnatic just taking that slight edge in the bot lane 2v2, using that to just get the first move on bot lane. You can see that giving them access to that Dragon Wish, as you just mentioned.
I think the big thing is delaying Noah's first reset, right? Would really like to start stacking the tier early, hope for the 2-item power spike. The full stack on the tier is going to be pretty significantly delayed now at this stage.
It's also the fact that you can't reset and get out of this lane, right? Like at 4 minutes so regularly we see these lane swaps, so if you're in a bit of a bad time, you can try and get away from it. This time around though, because Fnatic are dictating the pace of this bottom lane, they'll be able to reset now off this wave crash, look to rotate towards the top side, have control for Void Grubs, and it gives just so much opportunities now for Fnatic to play off of this strong bot lane. Like, look at where Noah is as this wave crashes. He's had to dip the entire way back.
It's true, and looks like he... Well, which lane is he going to choose to go towards, actually, if he goes to go back here? I wonder whether they choose the lane swap here and just say, get the Ezreal out of it.
It's really tough because the wave is crashing now. Lot finally gets the push out and will reset, but they are a little bit behind the clock. Jun interrupt there is big. Flipping both members, so you can't get the cheeky couples recall.
So I really think that in this iteration of LEC playoffs, the best teams we've seen have had good understanding of lane swaps, and resets stop like that and holding the wave like this can actually be very impactful, because now you see Lot will collect much more of the wave than he wouldn't have had access to if Jun had not done that.
Especially because he'd already TP'd back to the top lane, so the fact that Jun was able to hold on to this is huge. He's now swapped his summoner spells over to the teleport so he can get back up towards that top side.
Noah?
Reset. Wasn't quite, but still.
What's really important here is that you managed to collect both waves basically right at your turret hit. They managed to catch them right up here. That's the gold standard for a lane swap.
Yeah.
Works out perfectly.
Good luck. You're now in a position to force that wave out, take control of the top side of the map, and GX have already set their vision up around the Herald, right? Excuse me, the Grubs. The next big objective focus. Isma is there too. Now, Razor crucially has ticked over to level 6. Doesn't have that first major item completion, but where this first Nocturne ult goes, how it goes, often a very clear indicator for what kind of Nocturne game we're going to see. As Poby, good backstep there, and Fnatic priority position despite the vision setup from GX on the objective, but Isma doesn't hesitate to just kick this one off.
It's a good call from GX. They've already pushed the upside out of that top side because they were able to gate him off thanks to this 3-man move from GX. So I like the way GX are playing this. Off of that, a quicker reset to the top side. They've now moved in for Grubs.
So Razork did manage to get the first one, so it's not going to be a full 3 set, but Isma will save the smite until the last one, and it will be a 2-to-1 Grub trade in favor of GX.
Definitely feels pretty good. Good leverage of what was a pretty poor landing situation on the bottom side of the map, but the pressure Lot was able to build in the 1v1. Looks solid as Jun now level 6. Debating if he wants to kick this one off. Good engage to kick things off. Noah ulti also going to connect. Mickey forced the backstep. Upset moving out, but has to be careful when he ults. Can't afford to let a Mystic Shot hit his support. Fnatic able to retreat, but GX get the Grubs, get 2 stacks, and now putting some pressure down topside.
Great timing from Jun there. As you get Mickey going back, immediately gets the engage, and now Fnatic going to be a little bit nervous to try and step up on this top side of the map, because on the bottom half, Oscar Rinnan actually managed to deny a wave alongside Razork from Lot and get that turret plate that was relatively low for himself. So getting a nice little bit of a money investment to Oscar Rinnan.
And now we saw earlier Upset Mickey get themselves an advantage in lane, use that control of the map. Can they do the same here?
There. Jun isolated, however. Chase coming from Razork does get clipped by the stun. Jun leaps out, and they're going to be all right. Isma now ready to follow, forcing the flash. Mickey needs to get the hell out of there. That's the ulti used. Poby also just going to try and slide and glide out. Jackie's no ulti skilled. Can probably just pop it. Has holding the skill point, I assume, as is just going to settle for the chunk out onto Poby. GX playing fearlessly. This game started with them getting so many summoner spells on the side of Fnatic, and they didn't do anything with that advantage.
Still though, GX I think are playing the map better. The fact that they managed to get that reset for Noah early, gate upset off of the early Void Grubs so then they can pick them up, and they're now controlling how Razork ends up using that ultimate in the early stages. Like, even though GX are opening up a massive goal lead, they are still putting a ton of pressure onto Fnatic, and they're kind of fumbling it a little bit.
And now we get this point where, yes, you talked about the power of the Nocturne ult, and it tells a lot about the game. When we do see that first Talir ult, potentially while the Paranoia is down, perhaps GX can then start to determine where the next big play will be made, especially with the Dragon up in a minute, maybe the angle towards that.
I think for GX, this is essentially everything you could want, even after some small fumbles in those early bot lane trades. Feeling pretty confident about the way things are going. Small gold leads. And the big thing, again, the Nocturne team is the team we know that needs to snowball. And for GX, kind of winning out on the early game, now it comes to converting that, continuing to build a lead, build an advantage for themselves.
It's going to be difficult for them to try and leverage that lead into the Dragon, though. Oscar dropped a wave top to hold on to his teleport, whereas Lot TP'd to the top wave. So Lot got the turret plays and a wave advantage, but Oscar wants to keep that TP for the Dragon. So GIANTX need to find some way to either move Lot down, but with the bounce now, it's incredibly difficult for GX to play everywhere on the map.
And that could be a real issue, because Fnatic, I think if they get set up on an objective first later into the game, with stuff like the Equalizer protecting and engage towards them, the Azir ult is kind of disengaged too. I think that if you give Fnatic too many dragons, especially if you can't fight for this one with Lot not having teleport, that gives Fnatic a late game advantage to play around.
Definitely does. We've seen it a lot, right? When you have to fight into the Azir.
In some way to either move Lot down, but with the bounce now, it's incredibly difficult for GX to play everywhere on the map.
And that could be a real issue, because Fnatic, I think if they get set up on an objective first later into the game, with stuff like the Equalizer protecting and engage towards them, the Azir ult is kind of disengaged too. I think that if you give Fnatic too many dragons, especially if you can't fight for this one with Lot not having teleport, that gives Fnatic a late game advantage to play around.
Definitely does. We've seen it a lot, right? When you have to fight into the Azir, the team fights get so much more difficult, and so much of that is decided by vision setup, by Prio in the lanes, although Oscar still suffering here in the isolated 1v1. Hasn't completed that first item, crucially. The Kanak Rook on for Lot just makes these trades so effortless, whereas Oscar has to be a bit smarter about how he approaches this.
Also, one of the nerfs to Rumble was that max HP damage, right? So into the tanks, not going to be just as strong as it was, especially with that early Kanak picked up, as you said, Dracos. But Fnatic again, you can already see Oscar back right away from Lot in that top side. Knew that he might need to TP into this play. Fnatic using that to the advantage.
No, buffer on the knockup, but we'll walk away as maybe Fnatic look to continue their plays on the bottom side. Instead, though, just going to look mid. Semi-global threat of the Nocturne has to be respected. Not something that they've used yet, however. Semi-global
on the opposite side, though, as Jackie's has started to move in towards his top side, and Oscar a little bit low. Wasn't sure if they want to try and go for the dive off of that push from Lot.
Mickey. Okay. Jun, rightfully so, didn't expect him to keep walking forward like a psycho, so otherwise that stun might have connected.
Yeah, and we were just talking about that semi-global. Really want to just highlight this again. This is not actually an error. Jackie's just holding on to a skill point for that ult. You mentioned that earlier, but worth noting that again. Jackie's can put it into that, still cast the ultimate. Here he goes.
Here he goes. Nocturne ult now coming out. Razor caught on the wrong side, but Poby moving into position. Good equalizer here for the fight, but Isma an excellent ult to respond. Now blocking so much of the incoming damage. Oscar caught out, in trouble. Poby trying to fire back, but a perfect flick from Jackie's. Poby sends a packet into the tower, but it's too damn late. GX picking up 2 kills.
Jackie's holds on to the point in the ultimate and casts it at the right time to use the semi-global. GX get themselves the first kills of the series.
Huge plays from GIANTX. The invade was clutch, and it looked like Fnatic were in a decent spot to cover, but GIANTX managing to get the advantage. Jun looking for Mickey once more, has to escape over the wall.
And that is one of the strengths of this composition, right? You have the Tullian really easy to make these in. When the Nocturne's ulting defensively, it doesn't look as good.
Now, and here, it's a nice invade off of the cross map. They had Poby getting knocked out by the wall, means that they're able to set up well, and you called in the fight Dracos. The ultimate means that Isma just takes no damage from that equalizer, and Jackie's is in such a good spot to work with Lot, the double knockback, and Poby just really doesn't have the damage to carry these fights from this position.
Real credit to GX. Typically, when you fight into a choke point against an equalizer and the Azir, that's pretty much lights out. You have to get something off of that. GX now have a slim gold lead. It's good for them.
You gotta feel for Jackie, though. He's having a great time. He's watching his beefy front line distract them as they walk into the perfect pinch, and he can just lay down the CC. They can't dodge it. There's nothing they can do. Having a hell of a time. Didn't know how he was going to fare in the lane. He talked about it himself. Well, it's looking good in and out of the lane as he's now 700 gold up individually. First item completed. It is a bit more of a scaling item. With the Sundered Sky as well, this GX comp is starting to look pretty scary.
But this is where we've seen GX have got these leads, and it has been their expertise to get these leads. Now we have to see how their time has grown as we've seen them last, because against BDS, they had a good time controlling themselves in the mid-gaming, funneling these leads into victories. But I want to see if they can do that now against Fnatic too.
Yes. No shade to BDS, but the team play and coordination
Slightly higher.
was bad in that series for them.
Just going back to
GX quick to punish.
Quickly, looking at this, there is actually a control spotting out Razork as his ultimate just comes back up. So actually, GX have great advanced notice of where Razork is.
Hopefully leverage it to respond as the vision battle continues on the top side. Herald now coming through. GX in a much better position for these top side objectives. They have had to concede 2 Drakes, but that 1,000 gold lead, the extra grub. Now perhaps the Herald to follow as Fnatic are trying to get control, but Noah, just so easy for him to push out this mid wave with that ulti right on cue and just give a push advantage to the side of GX.
It's also, if you can't, well, they've now brute forced their way into River, but if you can't brute force your way in, the Talia wall can do so much damage to your potential team fight. Which is why I think Fnatic kind of need to hold on to this river control as Isma spots out Razork.
Goes in on Razork instantly. Razork probably just dead here. Mickey trying to find the retreat. Razork on the way out. Charm coming in from Mickey just in time. Razork still retreating, but Mickey probably going to have to pay the price. Wants to dash out, and that's the feat of warfare to the side of GX. GX, bloodthirsty, not afraid to just force.
And that one control lord we highlighted, it was there the entire time, giving them the info to know how many numbers were coming to the play. That will open up the Herald.
And I'm going to tell you right now, it is not good to be the guy playing the Nocturne when the enemy jungler is playing like that. Diving right in your face, because it doesn't get easier. It does not. GX happy to have yet another objective, extend their gold lead. And I wish I could tell you that this was the moment where their incredible macro took over and they would dominate. But this is why GX are in this battle for fourth in the first place, is this is where the questions come up. But so far, they're giving us a pretty damn good answer.
I do think, though, this is a bit of an easier comp to try and play out through for that victory, right? And I think GX have already shown they have a good understanding of how to play for it. You have Jackie's in a side lane, using his pressure alongside Isma to constantly fish for these plays, fish for these engagements. And Fnatic always have to play on the back foot. And I think that's why I'm still kind of surprised to see Fnatic go for this Nocturne in this first rotation, because it just doesn't really feel like it's been able to fit into the composition as a whole, and hasn't really been able to fight against the Xin Zhao in these early stages either. So the value from the Nocturne hasn't really come to fruition here.
No. And we have a semi-global on each side, right? And it feels like GX are the ones who are more willing to pull the trigger. And if you have the semi-global and you are caught in the setup, it's always going to feel bad. It's always going to feel terrible. If you're the proactive TF, the proactive Nocturne, the proactive Talia, that champion feels broken. If you are reacting with that ulti, God, it is useless.
Fnatic are going to get themselves early 3rd dragon here, though, and that's not bad for them. We're talking a lot of good things about GX, but we did say, I mean, it was Finn had a great phrase for it. 2 dragons is a little bit of a warning. 3 dragons is a threat. Fnatic could use a soul later into the game.
On the front to scare them off of mid, however, Isma's now looking to kick the fight off. Does get locked up. Ulti forced out, Redemption used as well. Mickey just fast enough to get out of the reins of that seismic shove, and GX keeping pressure up, but there's not really a lot on the map to take. 2 minutes till Otacon going to be the big buff, and the one where no matter what team is playing in this league, you start to get a little bit nervous. Because games are won and lost.
It's where games go to die.
But for who, I guess, is the question that we're always going to have to ask ourselves.
At least not from an entertainment standpoint.
No, definitely not from an entertainment standpoint.
Whoever cooked that up over in, you know, the right game there, like, you know we wanted blood.
How do we make an objective perfectly designed to embarrass European teams? Anyway, Razork now kicking off on the bottom side. Jackie's so confident so many times he had the setup. Overstays, doesn't respect the Nocturne ulti, and it's a shutdown to Poby.
Just zero vision on the bottom side, and it wasn't even that far overextended, but just Fnatic using the fact that they could sneak in behind with the double control wards and catch him out. And now Fnatic, with that pick, should be able to get this bot lane turret, get some waves back in their favor. I don't think they can really do a huge amount when it comes towards like objectives or looking for any more towers apart from this bot side, but at least it's something nice to begin with.
But it might be a domino. It might not be the play which makes everything work out in the end, but now you have that push, a little bit more damage down there. Jackie's a little bit less gold away from him. Can that lead to maybe some setup around the Atacon? Maybe 4 or 5 waves in advance? Maybe it can give Fnatic a little bit more of an edge than they were missing before.
Yeah. Crucially for Jackie's, does have the flash, does have the TP, well, the ulti shortly, and has completed a 2nd item. So, despite a bit of a fumble there on the side lane, hasn't cost too much as of yet. As you highlighted, Alex, look, a little more time, maybe gives Fnatic the edge, maybe some priority on the top side, as the vision on the side of GX has been incredibly diligent. You highlighted the control ward earlier. We see all of these top side wards giving them pretty good information as to where Razork and Poby are, and that is the side lane threat. Poby on his own, not so much, right? But with the Nocturne shadowing, hiding behind him, it's pretty damn lethal.
That one control ward lasted 4 minutes, by the way. That one brush. Actually, I had to go back and check. It was there for so long. But it's not there anymore. And now GX, we've praised them a lot for that last phase of play. We are getting towards a point now where I think Fnatic are happy to start 5v5ing them, getting towards 2 items on the likes of the Azir as well. Won't be too far in the future as well. And I think Fnatic might just see GX setting up maybe towards an Atacon in the future. I think they can try their luck.
I also just want to give a shout out to Jun. He's been doing a really good job of catching Mickey whenever he's trying to cheat tempo to get vision down. Like, he tried to get one at the back of Baron Pit just to see where GX were moving in and out of their own jungle. He's been able to spot out. That's the second time or third time he's done it this game, so really nice job from Jun, kind of understanding what he's up against. But here we go. How's it gonna go?
Otacon started the TP spot, and Fnatic know that this is happening. Just enough information to confirm. Not perfect information on where everyone is. Jackie's hiding in the darkness, ready to set up. Does now get spotted. Full on 5v5. Fnatic, how much are they willing to commit to try and contest this? No smite on either support.
Oh, we flip it.
Junglers have access, going all in now. The ult coming from this infield doesn't do a whole hell of a lot, and instantly into the backside of the fight. Fnatic finding advantage. Razork doing a ton of work. So Oscar Renan still standing, managed to split off Mickey, but it feels like that's all they're gonna get. Otacon at 3K. Will reset, but Razork blinking health bar. I don't think either side's gonna get it.
Fnatic see the green flags, the 5v5 where they can use the range, and GX were stuck on that Atacon. GX, they lose a lot of the momentum that they've just built up.
GX thought they were going to be strong enough. They had just finished 2 Atom Spikes basically across the moment that we can fight. But watch as Mickey and Razork get this combo off. Mickey flashes into the middle, jumps down to Razork to get the knock up, but Noah gets deleted immediately. And in the backline, Jun tries his best to try and answer, but there's no follow-up damage. And Lot ends up using Mickey as an escape tool from the rest of Fnatic.
The defensive stats that get shredded, even when you stand in the Atacon pit, make it so much easier to pick off Noah there. And this is now where we start to get into a couple of these worries we've had about GX. Okay, your early game's good. What happens in mid-game? That's not a great start from them, despite the fact that they had the gold lead. Fnatic might see the opening now to pull back into this game in terms of gold.
Oscar Renan look for the backstep. Seismic Shove does not quite hit him.
Razork's ult is nearly up.
Nearly up indeed. Should be up in just a few seconds here. Very small red font in the corner. You can see it ticking down. It's now available. But Isma's here to cover. Jun as well. They're all ready to move down. And again, the Ezreal doing so much work with 2 items to give them consistent mid-push on the side of GX. Oscar going to be forced to drop this wave and this tower. So GX, again, holding on to that gold lead, like we talked about. But that fight around that Otacon, that crucial objective in the soul, of course, for Fnatic, if they're able to get it in 4 seconds, does put a lot of pressure on this GX lineup.
Especially with good push for Fnatic on this mid-wave. Lot in a bad spot.
Lot isolated. They are going to get his flash. They're going to turn to Otacon. Of course, this is the luxury of having Soul Point, is you don't need to care about that Cloud Drake.
Okay, so now Fnatic are the ones starting it up. Do GX have a good answer? Last time it was GX starting it and getting punished. Perhaps Fnatic will feel that sting themselves now. Pulling
back. How many of the games are Zemkoi do feel like we're broken on this top side against this objective? Need to be able to play slow, need to be able to go in fast. Reset coming in for upset, but they're just getting a lead to the side of GX. The wall is there! Oh no, it's an absolute disaster! They get the Otacon! Give from! Donated, what?
Fnatic needed to wait. They needed to wait for GX to start the dragon, but they don't. And GX just sneak it out from underneath their nose, and now they can move over towards the dragon as well.
And Fnatic, they didn't exactly give up the Atacon to set up dragon either.
Razork, rooted, locked up, CC now flashing out to safety, trying to make it out. Upset still standing, Mickey sprinting as fast as he can, the entire team sprinting, my God! Fnatic, in a minute, have just given up so much of what put them in a favorable position.
Atacon gone, Dragon gone. It's only the first for GX, but Fnatic had a great opening, but they can't thread the needle.
Yeah, I think Fnatic fans' hair gone after that one as well. I don't know what they were doing. Like, what you need to do is kind of wait for GX to pick a side and then try and trade the objective on the opposite one. But by just hard forcing the Atacon so early, GIANTX are on that side of the map. They can always match you.
And it's kind of flashed back to the MKOI series, right? Where MKOI were so good about backing up, waiting for those major cooldowns to be used, and then going back in. Fnatic tried to do the same. They backed up too much, got walled off, and got robbed. You're robbed! You're the most qualified person to talk about this!
I will put a check on that. That was definitely a rob situation.
Oh,
but am I just admitting that I'm supposed to be stealing? Is that how?
Yeah.
We got
anyone don't need a
branding
legal
perspective.
defense.
Allegedly.
Is it theft if you throw your wallet on the ground and leave?
It's either that or charity. You choose which one sounds better.
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know. We need a cop. first time I said that on this broadcast, probably the last. But yeah, not familiar enough. Or a lawyer. Not familiar enough. But Fnatic, well, they've still got Soul as a potential option, and it would be great to have with the Nocturne that much more speed. Already a very fast boy. And of course, the scaling option of the Xayah, of the Azir. But GX, I'm starting to believe, boys. I'm starting to believe.
And let's go have a look at the map setup now, because typically your vision goes along your line of outer turrets. So that's Fnatic's, but then they've lost all their outer turrets. GX still have all of those. They have all of their outer ring of turrets. And now we have Baron available too. X marks the spot
See what you're
there.
saying. So if Fnatic win a fight, there's a bunch of standing gold that they can take. That's what you're trying to say.
However, GX have the better setup for it because their tower's given the vision. So it's the reward on one side, the setup on the other.
Yes.
But it's also like, regardless of kind of the state of the game, GX have just been the better team, and they have the gold lead as well. So if they can find this pick...
Oh my god, Razork is like a ward magnet.
But still, it's GX getting control as they want. They're starting to push people back. Mickey now at half HP means that he'll have to go for the reset. And GIANTX know this is their moment now to take vision with the push that Jackie just had on top lane.
And again, outside of Jackie's getting caught once on the side lane, and GX maybe not having enough tools to peel for Noah on that top side, this has essentially been a flawless game from GX, right? They weathered the storm of some early mishaps in bot lane, looked fine, got a bunch of objectives, they conceded Drakes. That was really what it felt like the only weak point. But Fnatic, it doesn't feel like they're going to be in a position to contest that Soul again.
You see that GX really holding on to this territory in the top side, just jumping onto Razork. It's not like a full kill, but it's stopping Fnatic from reclaiming the vision beyond this, just this Wolf's Pit. They have such shallow vision right now.
And now we're in a position where you look at Upset, you look at Poby, and you ask, how long do you need, boys? Is it 3 items? Is that what we're waiting for? Is that the moment where Fnatic maybe can just force something? But again, it's so hard because they're kind of outranked, right? Noah can just poke, Jackie's can just poke. They kind of have more CC on the side of GX. And so when you're the damage team and you're behind in money, you're no longer the damage team.
But it's also confronting. Like, Oscar Rinnan doesn't want to really stand there and take the beating from GIANTX. Same when you look at Razork, he just got half HP'd by Isma alone. So for Fnatic to actually get these carries to do damage is just a difficult situation when they're trying to run for the hills. We may get a point in case here, as Razork might be spotted out.
Mid-wave going to be collected. The rest of the team can look to collapse on this, but Razork sees that something up. GX, have they overcommitted here for this one? Topside, TP now coming in. They immediately pull the trigger from the side of Fnatic, realizing they have a man advantage. Mickey now going for the charm. Follow-up is there. Isma laying down a nice ulti. Mickey stunned to the rocks on the way out. Boom! Instantly picked off. A perfect flick back from GX. Fnatic, if they walk away from this fight, they're going to lose positioning around the major objective, around Baron.
Yeah, Razork turns off the lights, but GX are pretty happy to party in the dark. Jackie's gets the teleport off before the paranoia typically stops it. Him coming in allowed those rocks to be used onto Mickey, and Fnatic once again try and push into their own jungle and can't even stick around long enough to
just playing so well off of understanding how far ahead they are. Fnatic engage everything onto Lottom, this bottom side. Poby can't actually be a part of this because he's been zoned off by 2. But you're not getting value from the Rumble ultimate. You're not really getting value where you need. And GIANTX just hitting them with their wallets in a lot of these situations.
And this is some of the frontline that you were talking about. Even though Jackie's lived in an equalizer, got caught by feathers, there's no other follow-up. They don't have any frontline. Fnatic are eating so much damage just to be in that situation in the first place and really missing that more traditional frontline.
We do have, though, 3 items onto the carries of Fnatic. We were asking before, how long do they need? Is it 3 items? They have to prove that that's enough for them. Now, I'm not sure they're going to get that much more time. Dragon is spawning. Here's the ult on the side lane.
Ulti response, though. Jackie's able to make it out in time. Good reaction.
Oh, God. There's a lot of members for GIANTX. They're going to collapse.
Jun looking to take Fnatic for a walk here. Forcing them back. GX will use the TP, but favorable positioning. Oscar immediately TPing down to the Dragon. Upset has already started it. Is it going to cost Fnatic the Baron, however? Soul will go to Fnatic. GX, though, will get the Baron. We'll just extend this gold lead to about 5,000 once they grab it.
If GIANTX are able to like crack open the base, this is going to be worth this, but if they are only able to get through the tier 2s, I think it's an okay trade for Fnatic. Getting the soul is really nice for them, especially when you look at people like Razork who can get full value from it.
Razork still flicked. knocked back. It's going to be a lot harder to defend when you're missing a member. Ulti in from Noah might have connected, but Lot isn't going to give it the time. That's a 50-second death timer. Rob, I think they might be breaking the bait.
Yeah, they might be onto something here.
Yeah, because I mean, typically when you have the permanent buff for the temporary one, you got to prove that the temporary buff can get you enough. You're now defending in a 4v5, and that poke that you've been mentioning before from the likes of the Ezreal is now going to make it harder to defend these turrets. They'll likely get this inner one at least.
Yeah, upset. No lifesteal, whatever he's getting from runes. So not a whole lot. Hard to hold on against the poke, but Fnatic doing pretty well to clear thus far. Trying to punish Jackies for potentially overextending. That Rylai slow is merciless. Is Mickey now going to look to follow up? Timing good, angle good, but it's not quite enough. Jackie's taken down. In the meantime, Jack keeping the pressure up mid, but they won't be able to break the base quite yet.
GIANTX just end up misaligning the wave states there. Jackies gets caught, and there's no real window for them to do much. They get mid-turret, but that was kind of already written off. So Fnatic happy to sack that for a kill on the top side.
Yeah, you know, the power play up in the corner, it's only 1.5k. It's not that bad. You have the permanent buff. That's why you were saying you need to really break the base to see if it was a worthwhile trade. And once again, it's Jackie's being forced on the sideline, this side lane, this time successfully. As GX, they're not really going to get much left out of the Baron buff now.
Yeah, and so often the aggression from GX has paid off, but twice now, Jackie's overextending on a side wave when, you know, those waves aren't perfectly synced the way you were talking about. It does cost them. It means a tower over to Fnatic will lessen this gold lead, lessen this Red Bull Baron power play. But obviously still a very commanding position for GX.
One of the things about that soul being taken just now, in a fairly early timing, means that Elder is on the table quite early as well. Yeah, it's a decent gold lead to GX, 4k or so. Don't think that is going to, you know, necessarily just win them the game though. GX, they need to find a way to get that advantage which they've had on the map before. Use that to go towards the Elder. Good ult there from Noah. Oh.
Yeah, that is real, you know, 3.5 items kind of hurts. If you're landing the Mystic shots, and Noah certainly is. So 31 minutes into the game, 4,000 gold lead, a soul to the side of Fnatic, but behind the flowers, behind another objectives. GX in a very comfortable position. However, with only 30 seconds left, they're probably not breaking anything else. The Baron will just use its power to push out where they can and take a bit more bot side vision control from Fnatic.
I think this is the way that GIANTX do need to play it though, which is, you know, have your team playing off of two waves. Look for the push with Jackies, try and support them, but always have that opportunity to try and bounce back and forth between two lanes on the map, particularly in the mid wave. But I think I would have preferred to see 4 members grouping with Lot on this mid wave and just enabling Jackies to push by himself. Because you can cause way more pressure on towards the inhibitor, and it can fully pull Fnatic back from this bot lane turret, and also then cut them off afterwards.
I do agree. It's just that Jackie's, when he's been left on his own, has been punished sometimes. So maybe they just think, look, it's happened too many times. We're getting a little bit nervous about that. They want to protect him a little more. But on the whole, yes, you do agree. Typically, the Slade does need to be doing stuff on our own.
Fnatic pushing in cautiously. Ulti going to be used, leveraged beautifully, but not as well as Jackie's was. Quick escape coming out from the Weaver's Wall. Fnatic debating if they can keep going, at least slowing down, stalling this push. And remember, in the meantime, it is the carries farming up for Fnatic. They've already got a little bit of pen for both Poby and Upset.
I mean, real credit to Jackie's there again. They've really forced onto him aside lane. This is what, the 4th, 5th time they tried to jump on him. Gets another ult out to safety. And just as Rob was saying before that, you want to make sure that Slay can get some value in that side lane. Does do that just there by surviving. Surviving is value.
And look, we said early game, GX need to weather the storm, can't afford to fall behind against this composition. They did that beautifully. Now they need to play discipline around the objectives. They've done that pretty well. Yes, they gave the soul, but they got that first Baron. They need 1 more, maybe 2, just good fights, good objectives, and this is their game 1. But against a team like Fnatic, who against even GX last spring found most of their comebacks from a single team fight, can't feel like Fnatic are out of this one yet, but GX certainly still heavily favored. And if they win from this position, makes you feel so much more confident in this team as we look ahead to the rest of the series.
Getting ever closer and closer towards that Elder now. Fnatic have actually put in some good vision towards that bot side. It's just whether they can hold on to it in the next minute and a half. Got Jackie's with his ult back up and available, instead pushing for a top inner turret. GX would like to just shove in, make Fnatic move away from the Elder if they can, and then go towards it. I'm worried that they're giving too much free time for Fnatic to set vision up around this Elder though. See Mickey heading into the bot side jungle right now, and with now a minute until the Elder, that could give them an angle to play around.
Yeah, Oscar obviously has the kind of backup emergency button of the equalizer to just delete a wave if GX overcommitted onto him. Even if they get the kill, they wouldn't get much else. So Fnatic using this angle to take control of the bottom side, not just that single minute of vision that you were mentioning before, Nymera, but have pushed that line forward and now will do everything in their power to hold on to it.
I think if on GIANTX though, I just try and group up on mid here and just hard force. I think you've got enough strong frontliners that you can just brute force your way through this mid wave and then into the bottom side towards river. Fnatic though already setting up on this river, and again kind of what Nomera was saying earlier, the fact that these towers still stand in mid wave are just giving GIANTX such a good jump platform.
Fnatic collapsing on the lot, but Jun going in onto Poby. Won't find the engage there. With the crash down, Redemption heals him right back up, so kind of no harm, no foul, but that is control over mid. GX have bullied in, taking the top side of river.
And it's also a huge engage tool down from Jun. No flash, no ultimate, and this is now the Dragon spawning in 10 seconds. Fnatic have a much better position than I thought they had any right to. Let's get onto the Dragon first.
Coming in from Jun, has the elixir. Ready to get this fight started. Fnatic fighting through bot, GX fighting through mid. A single wave going to be deleted in the mid lane while this fight goes out. Fnatic losing money just to be here, but there's really no other choice. Isma on the flank. Will now finally start it. Upset, caught out! Locked down, the feathers are going to fly, but where is Upset going to go? The wall still isolating, trying to move back to Charm, just in time, but Upset's completely taking out the fight. Razork moving into the Noah, Noah down, as is Razork. Isma trying to finish off Upset, and he's going to grab the kill. Poby, the last hope for Fnatic. Mickey doing what he can to protect, but Poby just doesn't have the space he needs to maneuver. Knockup from Mickey is clean. Poby continuing to backstep. Clean work as he slides out, but the rest of GX just turn. They'll take their sweet time, happy to pick off one member at a time, but it's Oscar Renan from the back, comes in with the flamethrower to get a bit more work done, and a perfect ulti from Lot. Buffers it, makes it happen, and it's gonna be Elder to the side of GX.
GX clutch the Elder fight. They managed to take out the AD carry and the jungler at the start of the fight, and yes, Noah falls, but they have enough left in the tank to...
This Upset was beautiful from Lost. Hopping over the wall, flashing in, gets the tap on the W to set up, and the wall was beautiful as well, just to keep them all in check. At least they managed to get Noah on the backside as Razork does end up moving through, but there's just so much more left on GIANTX. The health bar on Lot, providing the access that you need for Jackies to keep poking down Poby and not actually be hit despite how low he is.
And shout out to Isma, that was merciless. He hit him with the take notes after he hit the W flat, and then walked him down.
And you know, given that fight started with about a solid minute and a half of Fnatic being given access to that, yeah, you can pop off.
Yeah.
Pop off King. That was a hell of an important fight for them. But given that was so much of a run-up time for Fnatic around that, I'm very surprised that GX managed to find that engage. But they managed to do so. They have an 8,000 gold lead. They have Elder on all... I think they waited for the respawn. They got on the ground majority of the team anyway, and they'll use that to get towards that Baron.
This should just be a slightly delayed victory lap coming in.
I mean, Poby's on bot side, so they're not even trying. Like, you know, with Elder up for another minute 40, they can play off at least 2 more waves in that time. And then you've still got the Baron to play with afterwards as well. So trying to hold on to this base is just nigh impossible.
And I am nervous, right?
Yeah.
Because as much as I liked it when Fred again made 4 versions of Victory Lap, it'd be really good for GX in this series if they could close it out in 1, right? Just the original. You've got perfect buff.
Yeah, but Victory Lap 4 is so good.
It does
so
slap.
good.
It would not slap for GX, however, to need a 4th Baron or 4th Dragon. They'll be happy with 2, the Elder and a single Cloud, as GX continue to push forward. They have broken open the base. Top wave moving in. Hex Flash channeled from Jun, but just threatening. Fnatic really with no front line here. It is so hard to step forward. You can see that single Mystic Shot hits onto Oscar Renan. Burn as well means he loses about 20% HP, 25 now, and GX walking it in slowly but surely. Mickey, the big source of engage. If he hits massive piece of CC, the follow-up can be lethal from Fnatic, so GX are respecting it. Isma stepping a bit too far forward means he will get poked out a little bit, but still has access to the GA. Lot stepping up, Poby stepping back, wall placed, ulti from Razork going to be utilized, but 30 seconds left on this Elder. I think Fnatic are just trying to wait it out. They know they don't want to go in as long as that buff is available for GX.
Poby's doing some good work though on the side, forcing Lot now to reset and going TP back in and trying to hold on, but GIANTX, 15 seconds. Can they get this last tower down?
They still have the Baron buff, so you can see whenever Noah can get the W onto tower, all he needs is a single auto.
Equalizer down, forcing the ult out of Isma. They're gonna need another lap. They're gonna need another bit of time as they manage to pick him off. They can't tunnel too hard on just having the jungler. Mickey manages to find the initial lockup. Shut down onto Isma. Oh, GX, we're so close. We're so disciplined.
But Fnatic survive. That's the important thing for them. They have now survived both the Elder and the Baron, and they may be able to buy themselves another late game fight. Yeah, we're talking about, well, you know, GX, surely it's over with both of these things. We're seeing a lot of hectic late games not quite end here. Even recently, I mean, Mkoy had a huge lead versus G2 just the other day and couldn't close that out. Perhaps Fnatic, with these scaling carries of the Xayah and the Azir, maybe they can thread the needle just well enough in a late game fight now to see things through to a bit of a miracle for themselves.
And we're still seeing those same issues for GIANTX, a near 10k gold lead for them, but they just can't quite find the way to finish out this game despite having both of those buffs. And now as it starts to teeter off, you're starting to see near full item completions coming through for Fnatic. They're getting quite strong at this stage.
And again, for the vast majority of this game, GX have just been playing better, but in that siege, big credit to Poby, who was constantly out of Noah's range, not in a position to get Mystic Shotted, but was able to poke Isma. Really does make the difference, allows them to get that kill, that bit of extra gold, and obviously the delay on the siege, but it's not like Mickey's tanky. It is important to note. He goes in and he probably dies, unless everyone is CC'd, and bit of an awkward position to reset as Lot is now pretty unafraid to just walk forward. Everyone on Fnatic is going to get on the right side of that particular wall, but it does mean losing that tier 2.
This is where one of a fairly underrated change to League really comes into account. One of the Nexus turrets died. Remember, they respawn now as well. You do have to kill them again if GX try and go for an elongated siege. Perhaps that can work out for Fnatic's favor. Look, we have to lay the bricks down there. We have to lay the bricks down.
It's just, I remember when Twitter was like, leave them all really low health. You know, that was like the big brain, the spreadsheet gamers were out there. Like, leave them low health is just strictly optimal. But yeah, I think GX thought they were going to end the game, and because they were wrong.
We did too! Yeah. And yet the game goes on!
Here we are.
We're taking notes! We're trying to, we're trying to!
All right, Victory Lap Part 2. Who was it Skepta first? Denzel Kerr? Sorry.
Nicholas, yeah. This is some deep lore. I'm not ready for this.
The only Victory Lap I remember was...
song and it's good.
The only Victory Lap I remember was the one in Binding of Isaac, where you just do the whole game again. That's the only one I remember. I'm completely without context.
Yeah, it's fine. It's a Fred Against song, but I like the Binding of Isaac. Let's just put all of our shared pop culture knowledge into a pot till the point where it's
awesome.
Completely unrecognizable to anyone who wasn't listening to this cast.
So Binding of Freddy.
No.
Still though, like, now that you got Rabadon's Death Cap complete on towards Poby, like, he's full build, now you're full build on Upset. This is no longer just as simple as a walk in the park. Like, I still think GX, with the stronger front line, should be able to win these fights, but it is going to come down to execution now.
It is, and having that lifesteal makes such a difference for Upset, because Isma's ability to just win that 1v1
this
much
is
more difficult
so
now.
Spooky.
Mickey picked off, Jackie's waiting over the wall, Fnatic fighting through mid as best they can, leveraging the Azir tower to get a bit of control. They're so blind, but they're hoping just by running mid, the GX will be forced to respond to them, and it's 15 seconds till Elder. And so far the plan is working, but there's a wave in the top lane. There's a TP for Lot, a TP for Jackie.
Oh, no way. Surely
Fnatic
it's not
overcommit.
Poby has to reset, try and catch the wave. GIANTX, this might be their moment.
Isma going to kick the fight off, seeing that Poby isn't involved. Jun waiting as long as he can to use his ult. Upset going to pull the feathers back. Lot now caught out. Flash back from Upset to get away from the ult, but Lot's able to backstep with the footwork. Oscar and pushing forward. Decent chunk coming in from Noah. Shut down onto Lot. Tower coming in. Jackie, it's a backdoor. It's a backdoor. He's trying to push in. The lights have been turned off, but on who? They're going in to find the mid-time. Razor flying through the air. A desperate piece of darkness to bring light to the side of Fnatic. Poby makes the difference. Razor and Oscar back to back. Hold the line.
How the hell did Fnatic do it? It looks like GX had everything they needed to end the game, but they fumbled and Fnatic stand tall.
Do they have enough to end the game, though? They have a lot of turrets to get through. The Azir is so good at killing turrets. I think they might just walk it down.
Should just end it. Are you kidding me?
What is this?
What? Here we are. You were here, Twitch chat, YouTube, Cadril, Rats, whoever you are. You witnessed whatever this was. And at the end of the day, I don't know what it was, but Fnatic apparently wins those, baby. Game 1, first blood, Fnatic win.
And I'll tell you exactly what it wasn't. It was not a victory lap.
The Pike now going to move his way up towards that top side, just giving themselves full advantage to know whether that needs to be an issue as they enter into lane, or if they can try and play up for a ward in that second brush.
I think something that's going to be interesting to track is summoners on the bottom side of the map. We noted already Corki pretty strong into the Kai'Sa at the earlier stages, very powerful in the isolated 1v1. Jun also has Spellbook, and he has heal early on. Mickey's full aggro. No Spellbook on a support for the first time, and it feels like, I don't know, years, I'm going to say, even though that's not true. True
I'm going to
has
go
the
out of my
Ignite.
way and say he's not going to build Redemption as well.
That's, you know, you're reading my mind. That's exactly what I was going to say. One of the problems with the Pyke as the game goes on is that you're not going to have Redemption, and also against this team, you're not going to, legit, you're reading my mind, you're also not going to have a Mikhails. Mikhails could be super important against something like the Sejuani ultimate later. A lot of supports would end up going towards that later because of that threat of GX engaging from the jungle. Can't believe you actually just read my mind like that. You thought it was a joke. No, it wasn't.
I mean, that item is, they've done the math. The math does indeed check out. Redemption incredibly powerful. But for now, just some level 1 trading. Hook doesn't quite land for Mickey. So nothing to see here yet. Jungler starting topside, though, means an inevitable path to the bottom side as the Yorick and Cho'Gath just duke it out. And I imagine some potential 3v3s here.
But I think if it goes to a 3v3, I kind of like GIANTX's odds. You got Isma, strong front line, plenty of CC, same with Jun. For Fnatic, I think it's more about getting those quick, isolated picks where you get one member and get out. So if I'm Isma, I'm happy to just kind of keep tracks on Razork and try and go for some of these counter ganks.
And a lot of it's about the poke line first. So these hooks, which we're seeing miss from Mickey right now, they do way double. If you had plans towards that bot side, you would have liked it to be a little less HP when you go towards that 3v3. Jackie's got control over mid lane. Expect that early for Orianna versus pretty much anyone, really. So that's going to help GX if you fight long enough that the mid laners can get involved.
Yeah. Of course, Poby had the luxury of the Azir in the previous game. Jackie's was still able to find some pretty big advantages, forcing a flash out in the 1v1. See if he can keep that pace up here on an even more favorable matchup as the Orianna into the Galio. Wards in those brushes crucial, of course, against the Pyke, trying to deny that extra regen coming in from the passive. We keep going back to mid, so I keep expecting someone to die. But so far, it is just Poby holding on to dear life.
I mean, this is kind of the way the matchup goes until you back and get your Negatron. But Isma, spot on a ward now coming into bottom lane. Fnatic will have to back away.
Nice sidestep from Upset, or from Noah, excuse me, on the Void Seeker. Hook goes in from Mickey. Razork on the way down, but Isma's here to cover. Again, Sejuani early on, base damage, the initial proc on that permafrost, it's a lot of burst.
Jackie's has got pushed too. If there is a fight, again, the Orianna will come here first.
And locked up for a second here. 3 stacks looking for 4 on the concussive blows. Upset standing off to the side, bit of a fist fight. Noah getting lower and lower. Mickey going in, debating if he wants to flash. Gets the pull back onto Jun. May need to be forced to flash out himself as Razork starts to commit forward. Barrier pop by the side of Noah. Flash coming out from Razork.
Upset managing to pop the passive on towards Noah was pretty huge there. But he took a massive chunk of damage, had to pop the barrier and get out. And I think that's where GIANTX felt the pinch of loss in trying to find that 3v3, and Fnatic confident to take the space they needed.
Yeah, so a victory in summoner economy for Fnatic. Blew a lot from the bot lane of Noah and Jun, despite the fact that the hooks weren't landing very early on. Now you get yourself the push in, now you get Noah that early back, which he's going to lose a bit of CS to the tower as well. It's not bad for Fnatic. I mean, they would like lots more of this from the Pyke, of course. This is a good first step, though.
Taking the heal away definitely feels good when you get closer to that ultimate as well. No shenanigans to stop the execute from coming through. Good cancel from Jun. See if Fnatic can capitalize on the window of these summoner spells being down, because we saw something very, and despite very positive summoner trades, Fnatic didn't really convert it into anything.
So you're saying there's going to be a Nocturne ult to save the backdoor this game too? You know, similar to game 1?
Look, I'm ready. After game 1, I'm ready for anything. You can just put a sentence together you've never heard in your life, right? We can find it.
It's truly the expect the unexpected. But how am I supposed to expect that experience here?
Yeah. 100% is Poby. He's on Galio duty. Observers keep panning us here. I think they're Galio mains. They just want us to show us what it's like to suffer.
To be fair, though, he's I just love him as a champion.
True.
Yeah. Like, whatever about the kid, his entire persona is just fantastic.
Feels so good.
Yeah.
There's that one combo which is really, really nice, where you get them with the slam, you hit them with 2 other abilities, and your slam becomes immediately off a cooldown from the passive. You get like the double slam. It's really, really fun. If you
double slam, very nice. The backwards E,
yeah,
always good. As Mickey begins the true life of a Pyke, abandoning your 2v2 to roam for kills. Will be forced to return shortly here. Unfortunately, is missing out on XP, so this isn't going to be your solo queue race to 6 sort of angle. Cheeky hook over the wall does not connect, and Noah and Jun still feeling relatively comfortable despite losing out on both of their support summoner spells.
Yeah, I think in the early stages, Fnatic just don't really have the windows that they want to try and play hyper-aggressive around this bottom side, even with some of the advantages they picked up as Mickey. So be careful, because you want level 6 on Poby, you want level 6 on Razork. Also, just Poby struggles in the early stages to match Jackie's on the push and the plays. And it's more on Isma, I think, to try and make this plays happen. So the fact that Fnatic were able to force them back in that early skirmish is actually crucial to the success of Fnatic getting to this later portion of the game.
I think GX, in another game, maybe they'd lane swap away from the Pyke, but because they have the Yorick into the Cho'Gath, they're pretty happy to just say, look, if you can survive and get farm in that bot lane, even if you drop a little bit against the Pyke, we're okay, because the Yorick will get some value after that. Of course, right now it's even-ish. You know, the Cho'Gath does counter the Yorick early because you just chomp the Maiden and just plays without an ult. It doesn't give him like a unique stack. It's basically the same as, say, getting a minion, but, you know, the Cho'Gath can hold it. But you want as much gold and experience in the Yorick as possible to get you to that 2 items where you really start to take over again.
It can't be that big threat. We've seen Law pilot it to pretty good efficiency, but Oscar doing a solid job of holding the line thus far. Again, it feels very similar pace to our game 1. No kills coming in quite yet. First Drake set up, but not taken.
I love how this entire bot lane is just like hard focus on if they land the Q. And the Qs have been landing, just not at the right moments, and then missing when you kind of hope they do.
Yeah, and I think the thing about this Pyke pick is it's important to know, it's not like Pyke is not like the solution to this game, to this composition. It's just nice in the 2v2 to have a champion that can kind of compensate for the fact that Kai'Sa just gets the crap poked out of her by Corki early on. And obviously you can just turn invisible anytime you get hit by the Braum Q, and then you wander off.
I will say though, you are incredibly slow with that when that Braum Q hits, so there's definitely some follow-up that can go through. Swap though from Fnatic to move up towards this top side. They don't actually get the dragon, even though they kind of grind it up a little bit. But the push should come through where they can try and fish for the Void Grubs, and Lot trying to steal it away now with Isma before they can get in.
Yeah. Isma pretty powerful. The wife's still standing, 6 HP. Holding on for dear life. Oh, Razork. 50 gold to Razork, but he'd really like a Grubby. Wants to wander in, go for the smite seal. Good presence of mind from the side of GX to smite the one on the top side. Mickey's going to go for the hook. Won't connect, and that's going to be all 3 grubs to the side of GX.
See that? Fnatic really don't want to dive into the Sejuani Braum when they're stuck together. Now Isma's on his own, a little bit easier, but Fnatic giving up all 3 of them to a Yorick. That's pretty nasty for Fnatic. They need to keep really close attention now when Lot gets access to towers.
And I'm surprised Fnatic didn't want to try and take it. Noah was coming out of base behind on the resets because Fnatic had first move. And you also had Kobe come in with that level 6 hit in the mid lane. So I thought they would just try and full send it and then have the damage coming through, but not confident enough that Upset would be able to provide enough of that DPS, and with Nicky not being 6 either, whereas I don't know if Jun maybe hadn't quite ticked over, but still just afraid of the play.
Yeah, and again, Mickey roamed a few times. Is going to cost him that extra bit of experience, and Jun also caught that wave bottom side, so means he is faster to the 6, does make it that much harder to force these sort of team fights, and even though you pick this Pyke early on, you're still losing out in prio. See this GX bot lane at 2v2, and the only thing that occurred positive for Fnatic in that context, that trade, was I think Oscar got a wave in, got a plate for himself, so holding on to a gold lead, but I still don't think it makes you stronger in the side lane 1v1.
No, like, all it does is delay when the Yorick takes over. He hits 2 items you can't really play. Might be a dive up here. Sejuani Braum, good CC. There is a cleanse on Upset if it hits him.
I think he has to be very careful here. If he burns the Phantom Undertow, it's so easy to pick this Pyke off.
Jackie's was trying to mark Poby on the way up, but the second Jackie's lost Poby as he ended up eating back in towards his own jungle, they just call off the dive. Isma wasn't sure that Jackie's would be able to interrupt Poby from arriving with that shockwave.
Yeah, Galio, ever the Guardian, goes out into the Fog of War. Turn up somewhere very, very quickly. It still doesn't change the fact that Upset Mickey, as you were saying, Dragos, they're losing prio. They're getting pushed in. They're not exactly getting the value which you want out of the Pyke. Dragon is being started with Fnatic though, and I'll take that fairly easily.
They are getting pushed in, but because of the resets and the timers, Upset still has a lead, right? They did end up getting the push on bottom side. They did rotate quicker to the top end. They got to push out that top wave, whereas Noah had to immediately show up at the Void Grubs. So at least in that respect, they are still finding success. Like you can see, the lanes are essentially even, and there's still about a 15 CS lead for Upset here.
Sitting pretty, sitting comfortable. Again, working towards that first item spike where I think things get at least a little bit better. Tough to fight the 2v2 straight up, but a lot of their damage potential on the side of this Fnatic bot lane. And Lot just doing top lane things up against Oscar. They're hitting things, they're going back and forth. And now a TP, because he doesn't want to just hit things and go back and forth. Although
he does. He just wants to go ahead and hit things in a different lane. He's in fact maximizing his hitting.
His swings per minute are through the sky.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You know what? I take it back. Top lane is a thrilling role. It's played by people with good taste.
You just thought about casting golf? Do you think that would be? And he's chosen the 3 arms.
They sound hype when they cast golf. I mean, as much as they're allowed to. Obviously, I know they're not allowed to be loud. So they have
the
to
3 arms to hit this minion with. He's going for the putter, for the cannon.
It's very precise. No, you guys don't understand. There's like a 3-second window where if he hits this creep, the wave is in his favor.
Instead of the jungler, we have the Tiger Woods instead.
Yeah, true. I like that little.
I thought that was funny. You can laugh now if you want.
Look, I'm gonna get you the classic caster.
Thank you.
Great. I appreciate it.
Oh,
the Q flash through! The ulti! The perfect point combo is hard to pull off, but he might still cost his life! He dies! It was flashy! It was a montage! That mechanic is very niche! But he had to die to do it, so I don't know if that was worth
it. It is going to be farming time away from Noah, though, because he is the one that died.
It is, yeah. If Upset lives, it's farming time. Cleanse coming out, Razork on the way down. Upset getting run down, but Spidey senses are tingling. Razork on the way down. Maybe we get a replay. It's a cool Pike thing.
Still, great escape from Upset. Burns the cleanse, doesn't have to burn the flash, dodges away with the killer instinct from the Brawl molds. So overall, nicely played by Upset, but yeah, as you say, a little unfortunate for Mickey in not quite having enough DPS to take him down.
He's talking to me about that specific mechanic for like 3 years. He's done it once before in pro. This is random Mickey friend fact. He finally did it again and he looked like he died.
He did kind of run it.
Yeah, I hope, yeah, he's going to be embarrassed after that one. Goes for a more classic Q into the Phantom Undertow. Won't amount to much as Oscar locked up by the wall under the tower. Now he is a very beefy boy, and the threat of the ulti is going to keep him standing, but has to be careful.
Still a lot of members of GIANTX trying to position themselves on the bottom side. Isma maybe a little uncertain as to where Razork is, but he's actually on this top side and looking for the dive on towards Loss. Oh, he wasn't spotted by the plant.
Dash through, lock, caught out, nom nom nom! Quick snack.
So you see GIANTX, they actually knew that this was probably a case, but don't end up spotting him on the site ward, and now GIANTX.
Oscar trying to get out, Razork spinning through them. Oscar, unafraid, but he's just gonna get shockwave and it might cost him his life. He's now forced to flash. I think he should have been happy just walking away. Oscar clearly wasn't. Ball reattached to Isma. Razork retreating. Poby on the way up to try and protect. He also attack. But he's going to walk away from this one. I cannot believe Fnatic all lived.
Yeah, me too, but I think the threat of that Poby Galliwall was what saved them there, because if Isma flashes forwards to look for a kill, maybe the shield comes down, he gets knocked up after, and he ends up dying too, but GX, they weren't expecting that dive on top lane quite at the time that you were saying because of the vision control which Rob was talking about.
They just used the Scryer's Bloom, and they were like, oh, there's no Razork, but he just managed to walk across it. Yeah.
Negative.
So it doesn't end up getting spotted and makes the play happen. So I think Isma thought, or sorry, Lot thought he was a lot safer than he was.
Haha.
The classic.
The classic.
We both have one now.
Yeah, there you go. I love when players' names are also a word that I use regularly. Shout out to Amazing, whatever happened to him. That was frustrating.
Tell you the best one we had for that recently. You know the new Corki skin, which currently Noah's playing? It's the giant chicken thing. We had Jackie Love play, so we had Chicken Jackie.
Chicken Jackie. Can't respect Chicken Jackie.
Even better when we had Chicken Jatchi as well in the same game. Well, great stuff.
I was going to think of another Lot pun, but he walked away, so it no longer feels appropriate. As Oscar and Lot continue to duke it out, and we see a little bit as to why this Cho'Gath is selected into the matchup. Still only a single item for Lot.
And I think particularly now you're 1,000 gold ahead, and Lot lost a wave to turret in that dive there too. This is where the Cho'Gath starts to extend the time where he is controlling the Yorick. The Yorick needs to really hit 2 items. He's not been hitting that on, well, he's not going to hit that anytime soon, now he's this far behind.
But that's the thing, right? Although it has been, top side objectives going to GIANTX, Fnatic have actually done a better job of collecting the waves where they need to. It's a 20 CS lead for Upset. He's half a level above his opposition. You've got the lead for Oscar in as well. So in this position, I think Fnatic are kind of happy to just play off of those leads as Noah.
Hook hits onto Noah. Noah trying to dash back. Redemption now coming in. That item is strong. Look at that. Even ignited. Still an extra little 200 HP.
Should give Dragon to Fnatic though, as they'd already kind of looked for that cross map. Potential dive on the top side though, and it's Poby, and he doesn't get the help.
No, he doesn't. He's the one with the global. If you attack the sorcerer, he can't come to you. Herald used to potentially force him away from turret because it won't exactly be existing that much longer.
No, it won't. Isma mounting up though. Okay. wants to charge. Nothing too fancy, as GX happy to have that pressure point open up a bit more on the top side. Jackie's only getting more money under his belt, and Shockwaves are going to get pretty scary pretty quickly. It is a very, very beefy front line, though, this time for Fnatic. They have gone in the exact opposite direction of the previous game. No front line to almost all front line. So let's see if the Blackfire Torch, perhaps a Leandries to follow.
Now, Razzle caught up on the spot side here. Doesn't have flash, does have the Warrior Trickster.
Will spin out as Lot continues to chase, lands another Morning Mist. Wants to zone him off. Again, there's not really an objective to play for, but happy to just have the Scuttle Crab and a bit more bot side control.
Yeah, I don't think it'll net them anything in the long run unless they want to hard commit onto this bottom side. You still don't have Povey being able to play. He's looking for the reset now to potentially cover if GIANTX want to look for a dive. But yeah, in the grand scheme of things, I think GIANTX just happy to make Razork a little bit less threatening for the next minute.
Although, unfortunately, we have now entered the period of the game where I don't think Pyke is useful. Now, you can delay this period of the game when you have enough money for Umbral Glaive, or you found a couple executes, but it's really hard for Mickey to play because most of the people he hooks don't care. They're just, okay, sure, bro, 200 damage.
Yeah, normally you'd say it's, you know, Pyke up to 20 minutes, 25 minutes, but this is a 3-kill game at 17 minutes. That's not really what you want from the Pyke. So on one side we've had the Yorick not really have an opportune game. The other side, the Pyke has gotten some control, but realistically hasn't snowballed to the level which we normally want from a Pyke.
Yeah, I think the value from the Pyke, though, is more if you can get control of these side lanes. Like, it's the Mickey potentially showing up on a side lane when you're in a 1v1 and providing that extra DPS and execution.
Submarine the Galio in as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's where you've got to be a little bit more nervous.
Oh, don't sell me on late game Pyke. Don't sell me.
I think with this specific comp, maybe there are windows he can make it work. But
and when we bring the nameplates in, Jackie's has been cleaning up his act, but when he was a little bit more criminal, he'd be dying a lot on them side lanes, and I just cleaned it up a bit because he did die twice in the previous game. So there is room to attack that Orianna on side. Fnatic can find those angles. Another hook going wide is Isma waiting in the darkness. Again, if they clip Mickey, it's pretty easy to find that kill, but he has opted for Celestial opposition over the Blood Song just to make that threat a little bit less. And Lot solo knock down this tower.
Yeah, 3 grubs, Yorick with a Triforce. That's what you got to be afraid of. It's a full turret down. A little bit of a lapse there for Fnatic. Maybe they thought they were going to lose it anyway, but never great to give Yorick that goal. Flash forward.
Jun locked up. Phantom Undertow to follow. Knockup won't be there. Noah on the way in, but it might be a little bit too late. Flash forward, trying to execute Jun. They're going to get the reset coming in for Mickey, but now they want to back up because Jackie's on the way and they have to move into the choke. Move in, the Shockwave. The rest of the team trying to go. Mickey's still living for next second. He holds over the wall to try to escape, but Isma catches him on the way out. Povey's still going forward. No, with a blinking health bar, but he's managed to hold on. Now it's Oscar Renan versus Lot as it was on the top side, so it is in the fight. But he can't quite get in range to finish. It's not a problem for Upset, however, as he grabs another.
The fight for Fnatic was huge there. The fact that they're able to pick off so many different members. And although Mickey goes down, does end up getting some success and gets a much needed goal for himself as well.
Yeah, Fnatic really wanted a fight like that again, just to keep using this tail end of the Pyke power to get something in. It's initially a pick onto Jun, who's a little bit off. That Gatling gun in the replays, it does my head in, I tell you. But they managed to catch up the Braum fairly alone, and despite him being pretty hard to kill, they managed to get him down quickly. He does leave a parting gift of a Braum passive onto Razzle, which makes things a little bit dicey for a second, but realistically, Upset starts to stack up the lethal tempo, and the carries of GX get chunked out a lot, but the damage is still in Fnatic's favor.
I'm surprised Mickey managed to get over that wall, to be honest. You have to hit someone with the ultimate to actually like teleport to them, but just clipping Isma on the edge but still position himself over the wall was actually kind of cool to get over.
How smug
so
is he
if you
be
watch
about that?
the Chinese Super Server Pyke montages, you can, if you're insanely good, you can angle the X so you hit the edge of the X on one side of the wall and you can still go
That's
over
what I mean. Yeah, it was just cool
but
to see.
The problem is, it wouldn't have worked except the Sojourner flashed over. If he hadn't flashed, it would work.
Though. He clicked her on the edge.
By the time it resolves, he's over the wall.
Okay.
You can nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we get a VAR of it?
Yeah, we need the VAR. Give me the.
They just did.
That's true. Oh no, we need to replay it again. Oh. Trying to be professional here and everything.
As many times as it takes. Talking about random Pyke mechanics. Unfortunately, for the side of GX, this whole debacle has resulted in Upset getting his second item ahead of what would be a third Drake for Fnatic, although GX not afraid to just walk forward here. They have so much chain CC.
Ignite dropped just to cycle back round to the heal. Jun not with flash right now. Dragon spawning GX in the river first. Oscar coming down very tanky and has flash. This Cho'Gath is going to be really hard to chunk through from GX.
Might be a little bit late though. Poby waiting off to the side. Jackie's does not feel too threatened yet. Again, Oscar may find an angle. Razor kicking the fight off. Lot isolated off to the side, but Razor already losing so much HP. In the meantime, Poby's finding the angle. The taunt, the ulti doesn't connect from Jackie's, and it's crucial because Upset for a brief moment is untouched. Lot trying to finish the job. Magic damage shield, not going to stop the Corki, not going to stop the Yorick. Knock up onto 2 from Oscar is clutch, and it's just what Fnatic needed. GX are decimated at the Dragon.
GIANTX thought they were able to take the fight, but Fnatic cut them down where they stand. The Dragon as well. It's everything for the black and orange.
Fnatic find their way onto the carries, and GX can't use, extra backline at a point of safety. Jackie's gets tagged, and then Upset flies through. Now, Razorgod thought initially, is he going a little bit too early? Is he going a little bit too deep? But he gets the fight started, and Jackie's gets caught out. No longer is the Orianna allowed to stand at a safe distance and continue DPSing.
We found the solution. Meatballs. How many meatballs can you throw at them? And the problem in the previous game was this Otacon. Generously gift wrap for GX. We'll see if Fnatic make the same mistake twice, however. Mickey fishing again with the hook. Celestial opposition going to be broken. Oscar keeping the pressure up on the top side, but Razor's resistances are shredded.
Upset wasn't even there. It was a very risky one, and
They leashed it again.
They still want to keep going.
Yorick's coming up. He's not here just yet, but Fnatic, this might turn into a bit of a flip. I smell the burgers.
You know what? Use the Valk. Pull back from Mickey good. Stand aside even better. Otacon picked up by the Cho'Gath. They managed to grab it. The Shockwave only connects onto Oscar. Razork sees an opportunity to step forward, but well played by Fnatic, leveraging the Cho'Gath to secure the objective.
Oscar gets himself his 8th stack there. He's feeling pretty happy with himself. Has really been quietly getting bigger and bigger, and it's not going to stop here.
Good sidestep. That hook hitting was surely death. GX. The previous game, it was so easy for them at the Otacon. Free advantage given, but now it's Fnatic's sole point. Otacon taken, 4K in the lead.
But also, you're going to have to take this fight as essentially third item is completed across the board on towards Fnatic. They're already about half an item ahead across the board, and that's where it's really going to get difficult for GIANTX, because Nashor's Tooth will be complete on towards Upset. His poke is going to be incredibly strong, and you're going to have the third item coming through in the Shogun as well, so just him taking that space is going to work so well for them. And in that last engagement, you can see Jun trying to tag Razork, trying to keep him out of that fight, but he just ends up going down himself, and you just aren't tanky enough as the Braum with this Redemption build to try and be that sole frontline here.
And he's trying to be everywhere, and you kind of have to be in some ways, but if Kai'Sa then just jumps over your shield is not stopping the Kai'Sa damage as we saw in that last fight as well, and Kai'Sa is very, very scary. So Fnatic on the verge of Infernal Soul. It is not like the Cloud Soul in the last game where you can make an argument to say it's useful. Infernal Soul is much more than that. That's kind of game-winning territory with a game like this, especially with the Kai'Sa.
Especially with that Kai'Sa poke, as you highlighted. For Jun, obviously, usually the big playmaker for this GX lineup, a little bit harder on the Braum. It's Poby and Lot. I don't think Poby feels as good about this one, but he's going to adjust his punch, he's going to taunt, he's going to be stuck in that little box for a while, and it's going to force the TP out from Oscar. Uh-oh, Lot, Daddy's home. Wants something to do with that. We'll just immediately walk away. Isma trying to find an engage at the same time. The map is entirely split. GX being a bit caught out here. Instant ball comes in from Upset, and down comes the Galio, but a bit out of range as Jun is forced to retreat. One kill coming through. Mickey! Double! In the blink of an eye, they're gone! And now Fnatic, they smell blood in the water. They want a little bit more. 23 seconds till Baron. This objective belongs to Fnatic.
We would say that Pyke is just not a champion at this point in the game, but Mickey proves us wrong. Slick mechanics on the Pyke as Fnatic get control of the map now. Is that, the big objective in the Dragon Up? No, but the Baron is spawning in 10 seconds.
Man's about to be at both sides of the montage.
Yep.
Nicely done now, Fnatic, as you say, Chimera. Baron immediately taken, and a minute and 15 seconds until that Dragon Soul for them. That's just such a good...
It's such a sweet spot because they can reset and go into that setup. And Mickey, he pulls people back, means that, realistically, the Braum is pulled away from the person he wants to go towards. And look at the slide through. Oh, that's disgusting.
Gotta respect it. Some clean movement. And now a 2,200 goal lead for the Pyke. He's got enough money for that Umbral
That's
Glaive.
the Pikes you see on ARAM, man. They're disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of 3 low on ARAM, though. It's just 5. people standing.
What do you mean I earned that pentagon?
Yeah, don't let anyone tell you otherwise, Rob. You're right. I take it back. It's actually just you, bro. You're the go-to. Everyone else has a terrible game.
It, yeah.
Maybe Mickey can take some tips.
There you go. GX doing what they can to hold on to this area of control, but it is a disgusting lead for Fnatic, and their composition at this stage so easy to play. Again, Upset, that third completed item, to just poke with these Ws. If they miss, though, that does still hurt. Pretty long cooldown as Mickey keeps stepping forward. Razork debating if he wants to go in. Sweeper over the wall, dashing forward, manages to find the knock onto two. Upset immediately into the back line, and there's just no counterplay. Upset taking down Jackie. Lock getting cut down now as well. Mickey might not have even connected with the ult. He didn't have time. They died too quickly. This is an absolute slaughter.
These Cyclones from Razork have been destroying GX. As long as he gets two people in it, they just can't reform their battle lines and GX fall apart. They're now almost 10,000 gold behind. The Infernal Soul will go over a turret as well. The dominoes fall in favor of Fnatic.
And this is going to be so difficult for GIANTX. Game 1 was in your hands. Now Game 2, a 10k gold lead for Fnatic. The Soul there taking over, and for a roster that showed such promise, that was looked at as potential underdogs that could upset everything for the top 4 in the LEC. Unfortunately, it just hasn't come together now for them in Game 1 or Game 2.
And given how important bot lane has been in this series as well, to see that number between the carries, Noah against his old team, Upset getting over a 4,500 gold individually, that one has got to sting for GX.
Oh, yeah. And you can see the damage to champions. The Kaisa poke hitting hard. The team fight damage, those plasma stacks proccing. Just difficult for Noah to find the space to maneuver. No flash either. 50 seconds left on this Baron. Zoskar solo pushes in that mid wave. And the difficulty is you can't really collapse on the Cho'Gath because it's just the Galio will be there. The Kaisa will be there. Hard thing to punish. The good news is Fnatic's composition is incredibly low range. Upset can't really step forward. So 2 waves of pressure do mean Fnatic will break 1 tower, but unlikely to break much else.
Still, I think you just keep this pressure up if you're Fnatic. Poby being able to threaten potential flank as you try and stand underneath this turret. But Fnatic will just back away, happy to take their prize, and it's not looking good for GIANTX. This is what it should look like when you got a 10k gold.
Yeah, you go back to this time last game, we're saying, well, you know, it should really be a victory lap for GX, and they couldn't quite close it out. This time for Fnatic, though, I think it is so much easier to just walk up with a front line with the Cho'Gath and the Infernal Soul.
Yeah,
and just deal
there's not double scaling hyper carries on the opposite side, right? Like Corki and Orion has pretty good scaling. It's just so reliant on you hitting that shockwave, and also it's a 13,000 gold lead. That's a much bigger number.
It's a pretty heady.
All 4 Drakes on the way to the Soul. Like,
and they have 2 Seekers arm guards as well on both of Poby and Upset, which means that shockwave, it's like, who do you even target with this?
It's possible for GX, but it's hard. You can hear the Attack on Titan music playing in the background. It's not enough. There's no 3D maneuver gear there. Mickey looking for the hook. Doesn't quite hit. Is Poby solo pushing. GX going to try to collapse in the mid lane. Isma getting the fight kicked off. Poby locked up again.
Phase rush.
He's out to safety, and Fnatic are ready to just end the game. Well played by Poby just to walk away from that one. Good thought process from GX to collapse on the member with the global, but Fnatic just don't care.
GX have used so many of their tools now, and they're in disarray.
Hook on the Lot. Lot is going to get cut down. Ulti coming out from Upset. Jund blocking the wrong way. That's not where he wants to be. Flash over the wall. Phase first into Noah. Oh, God, he's Aura. It's just too much, Fnatic. Just delete him. Isma going to recall just in time to see the base crumble. Well, the game might have been quiet, but the mid to late has been dominant, and all in favor of Fnatic as they move on to match point.
A celebratory ground slam for Poby, and a well-earned one. After game 1, it looks like Fnatic woke up and chose violence.
Fnatic with 3 match points against GX now. GX backs against the wall. Even after that game 1, it has got to be galling for them.
Yeesh. Pressure on. It already was for both these teams heading into the day. And on the side of GX, incredibly difficult situation. You had game 1. Game 2, though, belongs to that man on your screen. I might have been a hater, but he made it work. It's Mickey X.
What did I hear? Dracos was a hater of your bike?
I guess so. I mean, this guy hates everything I play, apparently. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't the cleanest bike performance, but I did one good play in the Corki in the mid lane. Other than that, could be improved.
That's what matters. Aura points, and you guys won in the end, much more clean than the first game was. We're gonna forget about the first game actually.
Really good for a brief moment.
People did try though. They really tried to force the Vayne.
But we haven't seen Vayne bot lane a lot. I think we saw one game of it from Weibo's AD carry Lights. He played it like last week. It's really not that common, but it is something which has popped up ever so rarely, I suppose, into the Civ, because again, so little of your damage is skill-based. God, why is it hard? And so much of it's in the auto attacks.
Yeah, it is so matchup reliant. Like, it was an old school counter into the Kai'Sa as well, but does work well into the Sivir. So I'm glad to see upset again. Like, I think this is the cool part of Fearless, as Mickey decides that he needed to go down. That's you end up with these picks that it is worth spending time for some of these counters.
So continuing to step up, obviously super powerful in these early trades. Lethal tempo as well to extend, and they want to keep that trade going. Mickey gonna backstep. Won't bother to proc the passive.
That's a huge problem now, because, oh god, he's keeping the lethal tempo up as well. Each of these slight auto attacks in there keep the lethal tempo stacks up. They'll fall off now just about, but now they've lost so much HP, they've lost control of the wave.
Mickey making sure not to risk too much there. We'll start to back away. Heal uses level 2, starts to come through. Jun now a threat. That level 1 with just the headbutt, not too concerning.
I was going to say, the wave was pushing away from them, so GIANTX just trying to stay in range to hit the level 2, and that immediately gives them a lot of control back. So heal burnt is actually going to be a pretty big win for GIANTX, as they can look for some of these extended trades off the back of it. You need to look for Mickey to try and hook Jun out of these headbutt pulverized combos as the wave bounces back to deny GIANTX the trades.
I will say in this brief moment of calm that a reminder that tickets are available, man. Summer finals, not next weekend, the following weekend. And remember that if you're a GX fan, this might not seem like the best time to buy tickets, but you will never have shown greater faith in your team than if you buy those tickets right now. This is the greatest possible faith to ticket purchasing overlap point.
If KT could do it, GIANTX could do it. All right.
I'm just saying, if you're a Fnatic fan, you want to see, Fnatic Vayne on stage in Madrid.
True.
Both, yeah, we're really selling both angles of this.
Upset versus Kalisz potentially, Noah versus Kalisz potentially, a lot to be excited for.
See, very early on, we see the Cull coming in from Upset as well. So he's just saying, all right, matchup's going fine, easy first back. If you've got enough gold for a longsword, you may as well go for a Cull instead if you've got the budget for it. Get yourself towards those powerful
gank angle on the bot side as well here. Razork hasn't been spotted.
Jarvan, obviously premier early activity jungler. Spell Shield won't block too much. Hoping to bait some spells out of Jun. Jun really taking his time. Spell Shield not going to block that one though. Condemned back into the wall. Razork just continuing to auto, but his red buff fell off.
Huge play from Jun, headbutting Mickey away. So even though Upset gets the CC, Mickey can't follow up for another route and manages to let Noah with that Ghost and Flash get away.
And now look at the wave state for GX's bot lane. They've just lost their Flash and their Ghost on their AD carry. He's had to back. He's going top lane immediately saying, screw this, I'm getting out of this lane. I'm not getting froze on and losing all that farm. Lot will have to go figure that out for himself instead.
Now, checking in across the map. Really no massive gold leads anywhere. Upset will start to accrue one there, and Oscar in a really good position to hold the wave. Lot does have access to that TP. Instead, going to go to the bottom side. Mickey just in time to cancel that recall.
And this is really nice stuff coming out from Fnatic. You take a mistake or a good trade in a lane, and you make sure that both lanes are on your side of the map, and you can start really freezing the other team off the choices who want to go towards.
Platform from Oscar in it. Razork flag, the drag, nowhere for Noah to go, except for the grave. Oscar in it, finding first blood.
And that is the capitalization of the lane swap. The waves are away for GX, they have to collect them anyway, and they lose the first blood as they go and overextend for it.
And again, Razork kind of coming out in these early stages looking great. Isma on the Nidalee would like to try and get some invades, would like to try and get into his face, but with the waves so far behind, it's nigh on impossible to actually look for any invades and get value out of this Nidalee. And Razork is now getting to clear his camps without any pressure put on him and get access to the lanes as well.
And Isma's spotted right now, right? And this makes it so much trickier to get anything else done. They're anticipating or can anticipate a bot side invade. If you get through that first clear, even in gold, Nidalee's just going to outpace you. But now on the top side, they're fishing for a bit of vengeance. Unfortunately, that was an awkward animation. Oscar can just tunnel his way out.
Rek'Sai very, very hard to remove from lane. We saw it a little bit from Broken Blade earlier in the split. Can't remember if anyone else played it, but we're hearing some whispers of that champion just being really hard to do. Much dive coming in onto Lot.
TP down. Lot level 5 Razork here. Isma is as well, however, on the Nidalee. Flash over, the spear doesn't quite connect. Law now in trouble. Flag and Drag doesn't hit though. He's just barely able to dash out to safety, trying to sidestep, trying to get tricky on the hook. Manages to walk away, but I don't think it's going to be enough. One more auto should do it. Oh, that's the final proc. Silver Bolts comes through. Fnatic, 4 members in bot lane.
They need the wave though. There's a lot of members of GIANTX trying to get down here. Wave makes it to the tower. We've got their safety route out.
Such a close fight. Fnatic able to grab the kill, able to walk away. Crucially, in the meantime, Noah's getting some much needed time to farm on the top side, but it won't mount to too much.
It's Upset that gets the kill on the other side. So the Vayne has a cull, has a kill. Noah's died on the other side too. Yes, he's picking up some farm, which he missed, but Fnatic, all of these flags are green for them right now. It's looking like a great early game.
Definitely is. Also, Upset getting closer to level 6. Massive spike for the champion, right? Ulti is just a huge steroid. As Oscar playing to his limits there. Respect to the confidence, right? These are the kind of plays that he's made during the regular season that got him caught out, that got him killed, but they're just a massive tempo.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Lot wasn't level 6, I think, was the decider there. Is now Poby.
Root connects, spear connects, that's the combo. Should just be a quick cleanup, but they're out of CC. Poby can't make it out. Isma finding the kill.
Nice job by Isma to finally find one. Jackie's managed to catch Poby off the back. You can see Mickey trying to TP in to help him out, but just so much damage off that combo in the early stages.
Yeah, Poby having no flash there, really well capitalized on by GX, and that can't come much later, really. It felt like this early game was once again slipping away from them, something which you highlighted, Rob, is something that GX really need to sort. That early game needs to be solid, because it's felt like in this series, it's been a bit back and forth on that, and very important to how the game's played out.
Upset continuing to feel pretty comfortable in the 1v1 versus Noah. Of course, Vayne wave clear atrocious compared to Sivir, so Noah can, to a certain degree, just opt out of trying for these short trades and just focus on getting the creeps into the tower. But with Razork in the area, that might not be an option. They think Missy's mid position, but it's all a bait as Razork is here. Puts Noah in the cage. Upset more than happy to keep that trade going. Noah finally takes over to level 6, but it does not matter. Feat of warfare to Fnatic.
Noah seconds away from having his flash back up, but Fnatic knew that timer, and they punish once more. Giant theme in this early stage, and Fnatic go for the grubs as well.
It's going to open up the grubs. Fnatic get even more gold onto this Vayne, and even less gold. Hang on, there might be a fight onto this, though, backing away.
Isma going in, Razork forced back. Golden Angus to get the slow down. Spear connects to Mickey. Mickey might be in trouble, but Upset ulting, ready to keep this fight going. Jun with the punt back. They just want to clear up this kill on Mickey. It will go to the side of Jackie's. Another spear goes forward. Mickey manages to sidestep, but the Fnatic bot lane will retreat at the cost of Razork's life.
Isma really does not want his year to end here. He's gotten a couple of good kills now, or kills and participation. Stops Fnatic getting the full sweep of those grubs, and will be able to claim some for his own team.
Poby's on the way to bot side though, and Lot, half HP. You've got a way to reset tower aggro. Fnatic want to look for the cross map.
Oscar ready for the dive. Lot can see it coming now, but the knockup starting to feel inevitable. Knockup there from Oscar, and immediate damage fallout coming in from Poby. He misses one ability, but it doesn't matter because Oscar and his ulti is there. Another plate likely to fall as well. Early game, so incredibly favored for Fnatic.
Fnatic just doing so well to look for that cross map and keep the tempo up this entire time. It's making it so difficult for GIANTX to try and play through this. As Razork goes to play on top side again. Noah's flash barely not there. And Fnatic able to get another kill back.
And you can see there's some really dangerous combos you can play around even that. Yes, there was the kill back after. You bring your own wall stun with the Cataclysm and the Condemned combo. It wasn't needed there, but watch out for that later into the game. Isma at least able to pick up something amongst this, gets some extra gold, and stops it being a full clean play for Fnatic.
And of course, the Scion has a lot of composition where, you know, this champion can just really feel unkillable. Against the Vayne, it might not be one of them. That said, Noah taking up home in mid lane doesn't make the trading pattern a little bit rougher, but once he gets 1-2 items, he should be able to infinitely wave clear. Upset might not have a chance.
Yeah, I think that's the one part where you can try and play for, and oftentimes you've even seen actually Vayne try and go for the static shiv to try and combat that at least a little,
true.
But I mean, you do get so much value from the Blade of the Rune King in these fights with the slows onto double melee front lines or even triple melee front lines can work out incredibly potently. It's going to be a tough one for GIANTX unless they can leverage that push from Noah to make plays on sides.
And while it's not like you've got something like, hang on a second,
Jackie's going all in. Tunnel right there, trying his best to cover it. Oscar's so patient, but Jun is on the way. Flash forward, one auto. Jun.
Get him, Jun! Well
Jun, ignite, Q, walk away!
Supportal combat! Jun drops down the summoner. Oscar just about survived the 1v1. Rare to see it's the support which capitalizes like that, though.
Yeah. And Oscar just overstaying on the top side, not really respecting the damage that Jackie's could put out. Jackie's so close to getting the kill himself, but luckily Jun is there to cover, and it likely means This top lane tier 1 going down, but it will be in exchange for the Drake for Fnatic. Grab the Chem Tech.
That's what you need to do with GIANTX though. Make these plays on sides is Upset. Good spell shield, hook goes wide, and Noah with the fancy feet, making sure the Fnatic can't capitalize on the play.
Big to start to get things back for GX. Again, 1,000 gold lead for the Scion, 400 gold up for Isma as he completes his first item. If they can put those leads to use, they'll feel pretty comfortable. Solid lead for Upset, yes, but no major item completion, and Vayne often can be a tricky champion to get value out of. It's not just as simple as, Jinx, gold lead, win fight.
One thing which I'd like to throw in just an extra consideration. You don't have something like an Enchanter with you. You do have the Jarvan standard for attack speed. You've max ranked 30% attack speed, which the Vayne's going to get, which is effectively an extra pair of boots you've got on you for the Berserker Greaves. That can actually be very impactful in mid to late game fights if Razork drops that standard basically anywhere in the vicinity of that Vayne.
Yeah, my biggest problem for GIANTX is with the lead ups it has, how do you deal with them? Because it has to be lost that basically gets this public execution into like the follow-up from Isma, and maybe you can finish him off. But if that doesn't connect, and there are people around that can peel for him, it becomes very, very difficult to make that happen. And there's like Mickey, Razork, Oscar that can all tank the follow-up spears, that can tank any sort of engage, like even deny Jun access for a follow-up CC. So GIANTX really have to play these fights excellently to deal with Upset, especially when he hits that 2 items, both the Blade of the Rune King and that Quincy's Rage Blade. That's where Vayne really pops off.
Definitely can. See what they can do to start to ship the gold back for Noah. Of course, only 9 stacks away from finishing the call on Upset, so that'll be a pretty big surge in gold. Certainly at least a completed Blade of the Rune King, if not more. On the top side, it is Jackie's who's been elected to go up against Oscar, and pretty unplayable matchup for Lot at this stage. And Jackie's, credit to him, is holding his own despite the early MR itemization. Obviously, the plated steel caps do a lot of work against the Rek'Sai.
Oscar's done very well to get himself that lead. Of course, Lot shut down very heavily. I think Oscar's had a pretty solid series overall. The Cho'Gath really sticks out in my mind as one of the, well, quite literally biggest threats in that last game. Right here, we're going to see from this Rek'Sai just infinite wave clear, never able to remove him from a side lane because they bring so much of their own sustain. And that can be something which Fnatic can use to just control one part of the map, because the Rek'Sai, realistically, you're not getting them out of that lane.
No, definitely a tall task. It would take a random Alistar appearing with Ignite if you wanted to finish a kill.
Oh, we've never seen that, yeah.
Happened once, could happen again, but the game is definitely stalled a bit. Poby stronger on the side lane, and that is kind of the one big discrepancy in favor of Fnatic, is that Law has been shut down so hard that even though they've swapped matchups, he's still suffering against Poby. Will still be this infinite pressure point as GX now potentially look for the collapse. Poby a tough target to collapse on though with the phase rush.
Fnatic are doing a good job of protecting him and kind of reading what GIANTX are doing. Opening up Oscar in and now this alone time on the top side. So GIANTX overload the bot side hoping for a play. They don't find it, and Fnatic are just winning out because they abandoned that top side.
Yeah, for GX again, the pressure to stem the bleeding, to hold on, to collapse on Poby, to not let him overextend, but also not to concede too much on the top side as we see Oscar in it, just trying to burn down this tower.
Oscar?
Oh, that last auto! That feels like a criminal.
He needs to get to the tunnel. He needs to get to the tunnel.
He's got 7 seconds in his E. It could be a little bit difficult.
Knock up.
Let's make it.
Looking for the sidestep. Ulti to dodge. Now immediately run away. Uh-oh, Jackie still has the W proc. Tunnel! The tunnels! Tunnel! He's out. Are you kidding me? That was criminal.
Rek'Sai's just so hard to deal with in a side lane. So much mobility, so much survivability. Took the ultimate. Even with a great ult under the tower from Jackie's wave clear and force the tower shots onto the Rek'Sai. Can't get the kill done. Oscar makes out like a bandit.
That he does. A Thorn, to be sure, in the side of GX. Although 2,100 gold lead, I don't know if Thorn is sufficient. At 2 items, this guy is going to be a problem for every single person in the game, not just Jackie's. As Upset starts to get aggressive on the trade, but nice use of the blue trinket will spot out Jun and Isma wandering into mid lane.
Yeah, so GIANTX have a window now where they continue to play on mid wave, and they can then move over towards Rift Herald. They're resetting Lost, so then he looks like he can try and TP in. Just got out the Eclipse finished as well. But I think Fnatic's still in a better position if they move in towards this, especially as Poby's just kind of hovering, waiting to see if he needs to be at the Rift Herald or keep pressure on this tier 2.
Like I said, if it does come to a fight, we are at 1 item apiece, so that will be at least even in terms of fighting stats.
Lot trying to go in, leveraging the power spike that he gets from this early itemization. Poby respecting it though, will just back off. He doesn't need to make a play. Happy to just keep Lot there for now as GX really just taking control here on the top side of the map. Going to lock down this Herald. Oscarinen's on the way. 4v4 on our hands.
Yeah, Lot managed to cancel the tail up, to cancel the base of Poby. That might be important here.
Oscarinen coming in from behind. TP going in from Poby. GX being zoned back. Q interrupted from Jackie's. Immediate ult coming out from Noah, and the Herald has now reset. GX, do they want to keep this fight going? Law has access to the ultimate. Oscarinen not an ideal target, and the Dragon has spawned. Fnatic may be happy to just trade 1 for 1 here as Upset in the meantime doing a bit of damage to the tower.
Yeah, I think it's a good call from Fnatic. The Vayne damage isn't really there at this early stages. You look towards Poby, he's got a rod of ages that is still stacking. So even just forcing GIANTX to commit to this top half of the map with that TP from Lost means they can shift down towards Dragon and trade objectives. GIANTX need to get a decent amount of value so that they can spike some gold on their squad and hope that they can fight at these next couple of objectives.
See though, earlier into the year, GX were the Dragon stacking team for so much of it. Let's think, they got 2 Dragons, including 1 Elder in game 1, but Fnatic got themselves like the 4 things, so they got the full soul. Second game, 4. GX have not focused on these Dragons at all in this series, very clearly making a decision strategically to say topside objectives, not touching Dragons.
Yeah, in a lot of these situations, bot side has just been losing out on Prio, and that is usually all it takes to shut down those early plays. Of course, Fnatic finding that early success with Jarvan, with Razork on this highly aggressive pick. Keeping our eyes on these side lanes. Rise feels like an inevitability, but for now, Jackie's sitting comfortable.
Yeah, you basically have to pick like the worst of the bunch on Fnatic solo laners, because GIANTX, Lot is just too far behind. No matter what lane he goes to, he's going to struggle into. And now they're actually going to try and TP Jackie's in to help him.
Waiting over the wall, but the tunnel's, oh, that's awkward. Tunnel was right there. Jackie's anticipating a new tunnel being made as Oscarinen once again just leaves.
He's a lumberjack, not a miner.
That's true.
They can't give him crap for not spotting the tunnel, all right?
He wasn't ready. I cannot imagine a champion more annoying in the game League of Legends than this Rek'Sai right now.
I mean, right now, I just feel like I need like a little like London Underground map for all of these tunnels. I'm thinking of Victoria Land to go in. Where's he going?
I think whatever, if you've ever been to a major city where you don't speak the language and tried to navigate the subway system.
He's made his own U-Bahn!
Yeah, this is, that's the experience. For anyone trying to take Oscarinen out right now, it's like, nah, bro, you take the S3 through Alexander Plus, then the M4. It's like, why are there so many letters? Why isn't it just one number? Why isn't there just 1 4? It's like, no, there's 3 4s. My God. Gotta pick the right one. Alas, it does not happen. Jackie's now with the unending despair as well as a bit of aggressive trading coming in from Lot. Really determined to try and get something back, but a nice hook coming in from Mickey. Ulti goes out, the interrupt is there! They managed to stop the ulti from coming through, now they're gonna both be in trouble! Sion right in the nick of time! He can't take out a Rek'Sai, but he can take out just about anybody else!
The GX solo laners combo up, and this time it works. 2 kills to GX, and they'll open up a little bit more of this bot side of the map with Jackie slamming into the play.
Jackie's is doing such a good job to shadow Lot and get him some resources that he needs. Now with the Rift Herald in mid lane,
Upset, exhausted, trying to zone back. Upset just chasing. Backstep is still good from Upset. It might be enough to turn, but Noah's so confident. All he's doing, sign up with the Q. Oh, he's just dancing on them. Jump with the follow-up. Mickey on the way in, but it does not matter. Clean sides across the board. Oscarinen trying to turn it back. Flash in. Down goes Noah. Oscarinen on the hunt. 2,500 gold ahead, but can he get another kill? GX staying just at arm's length.
Huge turnaround for GIANTX though. Even with Noah going down, he gets the kill, they get the tower mid, Jackie's is getting the tower bot, and Lot is getting to farm uninterrupted. This is exactly what GIANTX needed to keep their hopes alive in this series.
GX now have a 2,000 gold lead, and a lot of that's been now evened out in that bot lane. We'll go back into the replay here as we're saying, well, you know, any matchup for Lot is a losing one. Okay, if he's there on his own, he's not there. Takes a ton of damage, but realizes that the pain train is coming in as Jackie slams in after the Realm Warp had been cancelled by the public execution.
And Poby had the flash, but just wasn't quick on the finger to get away from it. And then Upset tries to help out here, but a great engage. And even with Razork trying to go for the ultimate, doesn't work out.
We only have voice lines on.
Yeah.
Okay. Lot, though. Flying a little too close to the sun. Now going to try and ult over. Does not connect on the ult. Isma's on the way in with a little bit of a heal. Starting to heal up. Lot looking okay now. Dash back to safety. Noah can't save the day, but he might be able to turn it back. Oscar down! Shut down on the Simmer! That's the worst person to give the money to! And Otacon is up! GX! They're just, we say they're getting everything they want, but this time they're actually getting everything they want!
GX are on the brink here. This is that lifeline game. They cannot afford to lose it anymore. Things look bad in the early game, but they're clawing their way back, bit by bit.
This is absolutely incredible. Jackie's has been putting on a show on the Zion, and now it's Isma benefiting off the back of him being able to set them up. But GIANTX, they get Adacon in a game that looks so dire.
Why do top laners complain about playing this champ? And mid laner single-handedly carries the game.
Mid laner's better.
You cannot convince me this is the Ornn of 2025. He is the assassin. He is the mage. He is everything.
And you know, Lot is really quite weak individually, and we've seen Fnatic really try and set this ambassador behind to quite good success, actually. But it takes so long to kill him with the redemption involved as well that Fnatic overstay, and then the really powerful members of GX turn the tables.
Yeah, the TP coming through off the Alistair as well, thanks to that Unsealed Spellbook, means that they're able to follow up. And it's just been such a wondrous turnaround from GIANTX, and now with a 1.5k gold lead, they set their sights on the Dragon. Poby looking for the flank.
26 flowers ahead as well. They're just so much more powerful. Again, most of the money, most of the advantage is still on Oscar Renan. Going 1v1 versus Lot. Isma now coming over the wall, but Poby waiting behind to get some damage down. Good use of the redemption. Gonna heal up 3. Mickey standing off on the side. That's the ulti coming in from Noah, but the immediate fall just isn't there. Upset invisible, trying to finish the kill. John with a quick pump back, trying to save his 80, but it is not enough. Oscar Renan going down under the ground, and it's Poby again uncontested, trying to free fire as best as he can. No one is touching the rise. The Vayne still standing. GX, it starts good, but they can't put their damage where it counts.
GIANTX are trying to play whack-a-mole, and Upset is just dodging everywhere, making sure it's impossible to hit him. Fnatic find the fight they need off the 2-item spike on the Vayne.
Isma sticking around, maybe looking for a bit of a miracle spear over the wall, but I think he'll be blocked out, walking forwards.
Trying to finish it. Retreat with the blast cone. Mountain Drake to Fnatic. Soul point.
Just what a ridiculous fight coming out, particularly from Poby and from Razork. I think Poby starts things off really well with an unexpected bit of burst onto Isma, and Lot forces the flash and the redemption. Then watch what happens with Razork after this point. Blam! 3-man knockup after the ultimate as well. The standard is down. Yes, he dies, but he's created the space and the disruption that Upset needs to dance around the fight as the Vayne.
And you can see what happens when Fnatic get these scrappy fights, right? Front to back, the Sivir, Nidalee with the heals. You know exactly what's going to happen. Jackie's is that frontliner, but when Jackie's is the frontliner,
what a combo.
It doesn't matter. They get the combos.
But this is what we were talking about, right? If Upset is untouched, it is incredibly difficult to deal with this Vayne, and especially when Noah is just being focused down by Fnatic at the start of these fights. GIANTX need to find a way to protect him at the same time dealing with Upset. But with 2 items now onto the Vayne, he is really starting to come online. And that gold lead that we were just praising GIANTX for is just disintegrated.
And it's essentially, I would guess, dead even in terms of effective stats. 3 Drakes to the extra flowers. Yes, there's some extra XP on the side of GX, but it's mostly making up for Lot's early deficits. But again, if we go into another fight like that, if GX cannot rally and find, I think, a cleaner front to back or an angle to pick Upset off before a fight, it's hard to see how they'll get this done.
It really has to be about trying to set up the battle lines well in advance. I think GX, they indexed too hard into the flank in that last fight, where realistically you need the Sion in front of you. Don't let the Rise just gun you down. Hope he did a really good job of getting that early damage out, forcing GX on the defensive. We're now at a point where it is a very even game. That leads to things being very, very tense. GX had a golden opportunity right the way in game 1 to get themselves on the board. They have failed to do so in that game and in game 2. Can they do any better here in game 3? Fnatic have been dominating most of the series.
Ulti. Full chase down coming. They decide not to. Okay. A bit anticlimactic, but it's also important to know when to push on the brakes.
But I think this is what you have to do as GIANTX. It's use again. Noah has push advantage just because of the base kit of this Sivir. And they need to use that to try and put pressure onto sides, deny Noah access to this tier 2. And Poby had to reset because of that pressure that was coming through. So Fnatic now again on the back foot, and GIANTX using this as this jump pad into the Fnatic base to try and look for picks, try and look for small advantages while Fnatic are scattered.
And while Fnatic did a great job of evening the gold up, while Soul Point is an excellent position to be in, this GX composition, if they get a Baron, is pretty impossible for them to play against. Super short range. No traditional heavy wave clear. Yes, Rise can clear waves, but he has to get close, which is often tricky. You're against a Nidalee and a Sivir together. The siege from GX is terrifying. If they can find that angle, if they can take that major objective.
See that Jackie's once again tussling with the Rek'Sai. Neither of these two is realistically killing each other. Mickey's in a little bit more trouble though. Will hook himself out to safety.
Feeling okay about that one. Gold Right on the money. Looking at those item completions, though. See if Noah can get his third before the fight kicks off. Flicker Blades would be a pretty big spike in terms of effective damage.
Yeah, I've kind of hit on something there, Dracos, with the Fnatic comp, though. They aren't very good at not only taking siege, but providing siege as well. So they are going to be heavily Baron reliant. Now, you can kind of see that they are doing very well in the fights, but without having the control on the map, it's going to be very difficult for them to actually find windows to go for the objectives. So I think it will be just kind of waiting now until this next dragon spawns, and Fnatic trying to go for this cross map of trade for Baron or trade for Dragon once more.
It's also really tricky because essentially what they have is a 1-3-1 comp, but they have 3 side laners.
Yes.
The Vayne is also a side laner. And the big thing about 1-3-1 is usually you want like an AP, or not an AP, excuse me, lethality. Var is someone who can just auto push mid and you just ignore it. Vayne's wave clear is terrible, as we've highlighted. It's not going to get much better. Yeah, she does more raw damage. We just have an AoE, so it's kind of hard for Fnatic to do the traditional 1v or 1-3-1 thing that we're so used to seeing.
Yeah, no, the way that Vayne controls waves is by threatening to kill you, so you have to back off. That's the way she does it, and right now, because GX have managed to claw back, you know, into this game after what was quite a...
Sorry, that boomerang chained all the way to upset and cancel is bad.
Sivir things. And Sivir now has that third item, so good luck ever getting that Sivir away from those waves.
Noah, auto wave clearing. Will get knocked up, however. That is pretty rough. Forced to ghost. So small summoner spell advantage for the side of Fnatic. They're not going to overcommit on this one, but bit of an oopsie from Noah to stray too far forward there.
Especially with 20 seconds till Dragon. Taking that chunk means, well, he doesn't have that much life. Still has a little bit from his Bloodline and the D-Blade, of course. Gonna give up a little bit of control mid here now.
Combo into Oscar, just trying to chunk, but again, the healing is just massive. Only Grievous Wounds on the team is on Jackie's. Oh, Isma going boom. They're still going to look for the knock-up, though. Knock-up there. Body block coming in from Jackie's, but Razor just goes right over the top. Noah isolated in the backside, flashing backwards, trying to beat up this front line, but he can't do much of anything. Fnatic, though, getting took lower and lower. Upset still manages to live, and down goes Noah, and that might be all that matters. Jackie's retreating. The damage just isn't there. Even the tower, not enough. His upset is just unrelenting. Autos, silver bolts, everything being thrown down, but the zombie making the difference. His lot is there beside him. Jackie's determined to finish the kill on Razor, but he can't quite get it done. Oscar finally knocking him down. One more auto, and he takes down another one!
Fnatic are keeping their dreams alive! They want to make it to Madrid, they want to make it to Worlds, and with the soul now in their back pockets, that fight may have just booked their tickets.
Fnatic's team fights have just been better. I really love the way that Razork has been working his way in and out and in again. So these team fights constantly putting threat onto Noah. It'll net them the Dragon and the Soul. Alongside all the kills, as Isma sees someone jumping at him, immediately goes golden. I wonder whether he should have just immediately flashed out. Going golden in that location makes it so hard to rally around him. And this big damage threat that the Nidalee actually does need to beat is immediately off the board.
Isma has been so good for a GIANTX this split, but that was a massive mistake. With a Scion, with an Alistair, there's no need for you to be the one face-checking a Fnatic pounce. And in the battle of kill the AD carries, it's Fnatic who are continuously coming out on top.
Wait, as we go back into live, there's a bit of a desperation Baron coming through from GX, trying to catch Fnatic flat-footed.
Razork waiting over the wall. Noah, 3.5 items, has some armor pen. 7k, Jund going over the wall, going back, but they don't have enough damage. Razork still has enough time to get over. Knockdown going to go onto the Noah. He's going to be able to spell shield that immediately out. Who's going to get it in the end? All eyes on the Baron, and they managed to take it! Fnatic just keep coming out on top, but Noah's ready to dish out the damage. It's not enough to knock him off. Noah's still living for an extra second. Down goes Upset. Lot lives, but it is not enough. A triple for Bobby, a perfect realm warp, and a steal from Razork to seal the deal.
There is nothing that GIANTX can do in this game. Fnatic have had their hands around their throats, and they're slowly closing them.
Razork gets the steal, Hobie gets the triple. And probably led off today saying that GX's road ends here. He puts a final nail in the coffin.
And just what a game. What? Never mind. There might be room for one more nail in this coffin. Or one more game. If GX came out the comeback, but again, we saw how impossible it was. It was they had to do it, but everything went wrong.
Yeah, everything was disastrous. Isma getting caught by Mickey. Thanks to that ult on towards Noah, the steal comes through. Isma has to run away. And as you say, the Realm Warp into the Cataclysm just finishes off everyone. Upset again. The invisibility against this Sivir makes it so difficult for the Sivir to get those auto attacks down. And that's not even mentioning Poby, who picks up the triple kill.
It's looking pretty dark for GX now. You are behind an awful lot against the Mountain Soul, against the Baron and Fnatic, as opposed to GX in that game one have not given up these game-ending leads as easily as sadly they did back in that start of the series.
And I don't think anyone saw this potentially ending as a 3-0. GIANTX have shown in summer what they are capable of, the growth that they've had over the course of the year, but against this Fnatic, it has just not been enough. The Scrim Gods have been thwarted, it feels like, as Fnatic set up across all 3 lanes and start to push them down.
And I think for Fnatic, their whole year has been very strange from a third-party perspective, looking on the outside in about what do we expect from them. They came into the year speaking big goals. They thought, you know, this team must win titles. They've not really shown that level throughout this year consistently. They've been up and they've been down, and particularly in this split, we had some wonders about them, but it could start from here, making their way back up that mountain. They go on from here to face up against Karmine Core, of course, and that'll be a hard challenge if they do make it there.
Oscar able to walk away with the knockup. I don't think they had enough to kill him, but at least enough to threaten, maybe stall at this push. Again, we highlighted it earlier. Really Baron reliant is this Fnatic lineup, although as their gold lead grows, that may less and less be the case. Keeping pressure bot side. Noah, 4th item completed. Razork locked up, decent damage, but again, it's all eyes on Noah. His flash looks like just now available. They can force the fight if they want to. Again, more time, I think, good for the composition that GX are running. Isma also completely out of mana. Forced to back away now.
10 seconds left on the Baron. They will just barely manage to get this turret.
Engage going in on a Jackie. Noah able to block the Nautilus ultimate. Razork waiting. Fnatic, though, don't want to overcommit. We'll just take the tower in mid lane. May look for a little bit more. Mickey does manage to land the hook. That's the redemption. Poby, nice flash back. And it's Jun who's been caught out completely. Now they're descending on them like sharks. Noah for a brief moment untouched, but it doesn't matter. It might be too late in the fight. All eyes on Noah. Vaughn finds his way into the back line. Decent damage to follow. Oscar running on the way in, but Noah's already taken down Mickey. He's looking to bat another ambulance as Razork is about to fall. Zombie Scion, not enough. Razork still standing. GA still available. And it's all falling apart for GX. They might have found one, but Fnatic will not relent.
Poby breaks their ankles as Fnatic maybe look to break the game.
Isma dash over. Knock up, not going to connect. Noah doing everything he can to clear, but there's just too much damage. The flash forward, the flag, the drag. Down he goes. A second life for Razork. Happy to have it, but there's no wave. Lot backstepping. The wave there for GX. Isma waiting to come over. Massive shield goes in for Poby. Lot needs to backstep. Oscar Renin now in trouble, but finally the bot wave is here. Fnatic, do they need one more fight, or will they go for the close?
Upset's ultimate's just off cooldown. Here he goes.
Dash through, turns invisible. 3-man knockup from Oscar. They were already dead men walking, but that is indeed the final nail in this coffin. Fnatic knocking down GX, securing top 4 and their place in Madrid.
Fnatic looking confident in game 2. Game. Finding those plays where they need to win team fights and taking down GIANTX.
They do it with a vein which we've not seen here in the LEC in years, and they do it in style. Fnatic walk forwards, and GX's road truly does.
Hearts out to them, but level up, it feels like, in this series. Obviously a tough loss in that 5-gamer today. A 3-0 over GX. KC on the horizon. Your Keo player of the series. Vote now at LEC on X. Oscar and Upset and Mickey, all excellent choices. And in the end, we saw moments where we thought maybe the Vayne would be exploited, but they were so consistently good at taking Noah out of the equation, taking that option away from the side of GX.
Yeah, the Fnatic plays were just too strong. Poby holding up the Fnatic logo there. But commiserations to GIANTX. This has got to sting. Spring and